presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
24 hours after watching Bartolo Colon spin a complete game against his Rangers, Cole Hamels responded with one of his own. A dominating performance, building a 2-1 series lead. Today, it's the 4-game finale, and Nick Martinez climbs the hill, looking to put a bow on the first leg of their 2-city road trip before heading east to the Big Apple.
We are getting ready for the 4th game here on a cloudy day in downtown Minneapolis. Fans hoping rain won't be much of an issue here this afternoon as the Twins host the Rangers for the final time this series and this season. As we welcome everyone to some Rangers baseball and inside here to Target Field, I'm Leslie McCaslin. Well, today the Rangers will go for their first series win in 2 weeks, but last night it was Cole Hamels who took center stage, pitching in a complete game for the first time since October of 2015, and it only took 96 pitches, just 4 hits, 1 run, none earned, and the Rangers got their second win in 3 days. Cole credited his changeup and arguably his best performance in almost 2 years. Of course, it drew praise from his manager and his entire team, including his catcher, Robinson Chirinos.
Just the way he was throwing the corners. I mean, I think his change was unbelievable yesterday. His quarter was good. I think his last outing it was not the way we want, but yesterday was really well. His curve was good for strike early and for Chase laying the count. So he was rolling, man. Those guys, they were aggressive swinging. We were going to have quick innings, so it was fun to catch and be behind the plate for that game yesterday.
With Cole going 9 innings, that performance there creates an energy level that there is a belief that every 5th day we're going to have our stopper, our guys show up and give us a great start, give us an opportunity to win a baseball game. Or if there's any trouble along the way, that he's going to put a foot down.
Cole Hamels said after the game that he had watched Bartolo Colon go the distance at 44 years old, and I think it inspired him. He said, I want to see if I can last that long. Now it's time to welcome in C.J. Nikowski and Dave Raymond. And guys, it's time to look ahead to today's game.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. You know, complete games each of the past 2 days. So Nick Martinez, Jose Barrios, who's it going to be today?
We will see. Now, Nick Martinez, of course, going for the Rangers. A complete game, maybe not exactly what is on the radar, but a quality start, I think, certainly would be appreciated. You see the year that he's had so far, 3-4. The ERA just over 5 for Nick, and of course that is over 12 starts for him. He's got a couple of relief appearances as well, but a nice opportunity as he is filling in the rotation for Yu Darvish, and he'll be going up against Jose Barrios for the Minnesota Twins. And for the Twins, they feel like the future is now with Barrios, one of the great young arms that they have and one that they are counting on and trying to develop into an ace, and he definitely has the stuff. You see it here, a very live arm, a fastball that'll touch 95 miles an hour, but it is all about the breaking ball that he has. We'll really dig into that later today, but check him out and what a difference a year makes. 2016, when he got his first taste of the big leagues, it wasn't a pretty go-around for Barrios, but this year he has made some very nice adjustments. You see that opponent's batting average. The strikeouts to walks are a really big one as well. He has gotten more efficient here in his 2nd year in the big leagues. We're looking forward to seeing him make his first start ever against the Rangers.
A young guy, 22 years old, and one of the bright stars in the Twins' future. Speaking of 22-year-olds, and a guy who's got it going right now for the Rangers, it's Nomar Mazara. He's on a long stretch now of some pretty good success.
It's good to see Nomar swinging the bat the way that he is. It's been a really nice year for him overall, but as of late, over his last 9 games, he has been particularly good. And every time we talk about Nomar Mazara, we talk about the consistency of the attitude, the consistency of the swing, and the consistency of the approach. And when you see him doing these kinds of things here, driving the ball the other way, he can pull it as well, but he can do things like this, hit opposite field home runs like we saw last night. You know that Nomar is swinging the bat well, and he's certainly has been.
Well, there are a lot of guys who've been swinging the bat well lately. Lots of exciting things going on for this offense. One of them, Carlos Gomez, the veteran presence in the order. Leslie McCassin will have him in the spotlight when we come back. Rangers baseball is brought to you by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
In downtown Minneapolis as the Rangers get ready for the series finale here at Target Field. As we welcome you inside now, Carlos Gomez is back in the lineup today after a well-deserved night off, because the game before he had a 9th-inning home run to keep his 8-game winning streak alive. That's why he's in our Shine Our Light Blonde spotlight, because in his last at-bat, that home run in the night didn't do anything for the final outcome, but it was a nice way to end the game. You know, he's a very patient hitter, but he wasn't always that way. He missed an entire month of the season, almost 30 games from May to June with that hamstring injury. He told me he was pretty anxious coming back. He realized he can't get down on himself and just take what the game gives you. That's exactly what he's done. This hitting streak, the second longest of the season. His 15 homers and OPS are the highest for him since 2014. Well, maybe he'll be able to get one today for Nick Martinez. He and the Rangers look to close out the Twins before heading east. Dave and CJ and the first pitch are coming up next here on Fox Sports Southwest.
This is Rangers baseball presented by AT&T. Well, a Sunday afternoon and the conclusion of this 4-game series just about set to go. Overcast skies this afternoon here at Target Field, and it is time to take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Texas Rangers. Rangers today, similar look as we saw yesterday. Chu, Andrus, Mazara up at the top. Nomar has been great, particularly early in the games. Yesterday with a big 2-run home run in the first. And hitting streaks galore in this lineup. Odor batting 5th, Napoli, Gallo, Carlos Gomez with the start in center field, and Robinson Chirinos will do the catching and bat 9th.
And those Rangers hitters will be going up against Jose Barrios, and here is the pitch arsenal for the right-hander. 61% of the time you're going to see a fastball, and that fastball averages 94 miles an hour. It's the curveball and the changeup. That curveball sitting around 82, a 229 batting average against, and he has allowed a couple of home runs on that changeup this year. And also the Minnesota Twins. Let's take a look at their defense behind Barrios here this afternoon. Rosario, Buxton, Kepler in the outfield. Escobar, Polanco, Dozier, and Joe Mauer back at first base, and it'll be Jason Castro who will be catching Barrios this afternoon.
All right, and with all that, we are set to go. Rangers have taken 2 of the first 3 games in this series, and hoping with a win today to win this series. Then it'll be their first series victory since the last road trip when they swept Tampa Bay. And so we are underway this afternoon. Ball 1 delivered to Shin-Soo Choo. Next pitch, and he'll serve this one out into center field. So a base hit, and Choo is on to start the ball game today. That's been part of the story, is this team in the first inning.
Without a doubt, we have seen it consistently from the Rangers this year. And here's a fastball right down the middle, slightly elevated, and Chu all over it. And the Rangers are in business right here after 1 batter.
So Elvis Andrus, 6 hits in this series, including the 3 double night. That was on Friday night. And there is that breaking ball from Barrios.
I mentioned it, first inning has been good to the Rangers all year, but especially so far in this Twins series. They scored 1. You see now 4 straight games, a 1 against the Twins on Thursday, and then 2 of each in the last 2 games. 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. So we'll try to continue to keep that going. Getting to your opponent early, certainly always a good thing.
Chu draws the throw over there at first base. Chu with 9 steals in 11 tries. So some thought on the part of the Twins that the Rangers might try to be aggressive in this first inning, and it's worth repeating. We talk about it with some consistency. Andrus, sometimes you like to put guys in motion to keep him out of the double play, as a strike from Barrios makes it 0-2. Elvis with a 6-game hitting streak, 11 for 25. Home run, 4 doubles in there. Another check on Chu.
Barrios has not picked a hitter off all year. Did have 1 last season, but this is more about trying to keep Chu close. You mentioned those double plays, and anything you can do to slow down that jump certainly increases those chances.
Ball on 2 strikes now on Andrus. Barrios, young guy, we talked about it in the open, but 9 wins, 5 losses, and a .357 earned run average. This is his 16th start of the year. And when you think about reasons for Twins fans to be excited about the future, he is probably Exhibit A. Big swing and a miss, and he strikes out Andrus.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's a good arm. It's a live arm, and you see Elvis Andrus describing what he just saw to Nomar Mazara on that fastball and the movement that he saw at the end. They wanted that thing belt high. It ended up finishing down and in, but it's 94 miles an hour. That little yellow tracer we have right there gives you an idea what that movement looked like. Mazzel was swung right over the top of that, but he relays that information to Nomar. Because Nomar will step in and say, hey, heads up. This fastball's got some movement on it.
So 1 down, and here is Mazara. 14 home runs now. He hit a 2-run shot yesterday the opposite way, and it was impressive. That was in the first inning. I don't take a strike this time. The home run last night turns out his 4th opposite field home run in his young career. 4th among 34 home runs he has hit. So a bit of a rare sighting last night.
You're right. Usually what we see from Nomar Mazara is him hitting doubles the other way when he drives the ball to left center field. But this one, he was able to get all the way out of the ballpark. It's a fastball away. It's not a terrible pitch by any means. It just goes to show you the great approach from Nomar Mazara. Very impressive home run from him last night.
1-1, and that one yanked down low and in. So Barrios gave up the single to Chu, struck out Andrews, and now falls behind Mazara, who can be a very dangerous hitter. Nomar, in general, has been swinging it real well lately. And that one up and away, ball 3. And in fact, Leslie McCaslin spoke to Nomar yesterday after the ball game.
Yeah, guys, he was ready to face Gibson. He said, you know, I had faced him before, and his off-speed pitches are very good. He said, I was ready from the first pitch he threw at me. He, in particular, was looking for the fastball, and, guys, he delivered.
Yes, he did.
That's why you do your homework, your scouting reports, and start to get tendencies and ideas, what hitters will do, pitchers will do in certain counts, what pitches will they be using. Nomar was in the right spot, had the right plan, and he was able to come through. You know, a lot of times you can do everything right, you end up hitting a ground ball to the shortstop. You know, it's not always going to work out exactly the way you want it to, but the preparation is key.
Well, on a good hitter's count here. And he'll shoot this one the other way foul. It's a full count. The thing about Mazara has been, oddly enough, the first inning. I mean, look at the 247 average. He's hitting 324 in the first inning. So it's like the first time he sees a guy seems to be the best for him. And it does sort of fall in line with what the Rangers have done in general in the first innings. But I found that to be kind of an interesting little side note on Nomar. I guess the next question is, well, how do you extend that through the remaining 8 innings? As this one bounces up and in and heads to the backstop. That's ball 4, and Mazara is aboard.
Well, this would have been a wild pitch had it not been ball 4, and you're going to see Barrios just yank this thing. They were trying to go up and elevate, and the ball actually finished down in the dirt. He missed his spot by, I don't know, 4 feet maybe there, because it was ball 4. No wild pitch, and you see Chu going and taking a look back, but realizing trying to take third, probably not a smart decision.
So 2 men on for Adrian Beltre. 1 out here. Top of the first inning. Good start to this one, especially if the Rangers can find a way to cash in. And a breaking ball to Beltre for strike 1. Well, a little twist on our TXU Energy Power player to watch. It's everybody. Rangers with at least a home run now in 90 of their games this year. 90 out of the first 110 games. It's the most in franchise history this deep into a season. It's like the one thing you can count on. Beltre in a hole 0-2.
Well, the first breaking ball to Beltre actually hung up there a little bit. It's a tight breaking ball. It's got really good rotation on it, but that second one was even better. A little bit bigger, but better located down and away. And that is the go-to pitch. The secondary offerings of Jose Barrios are dominated by that really good curveball.
Runners with their leads. Infield at double play depth up the middle, and this ball is hit high in the air, foul, and well out of play. All right, so what about that number right there, CJ? 48% of his swings with 2 strikes result in the ball in play. Now that's 10% more than the major league average.
And what it tells you is that Adrian Beltre, about half the time with 2 strikes, is putting the ball in play. We know there's not a ton of swing and miss in his game. Yeah, he'll strike out, but not nearly at the rate as we see with so many other hitters this year in the trend in the game right now. So if there's something near the plate that he's going to go after with 2 strikes, right around half the time he's going to put that ball in play. It's a good rate. Obviously, we just showed it better than the big league average, and that's a good thing to see. That's why when we talk about balance in the lineup, hitters like Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus, Chu, Mazar, very important when you have a high-powered lineup with a lot of strikeouts.
This one off the plate, 2-2. So I guess the other side of that is that he's not fouling off a lot of 2-strike pitches, right? Because if he's putting half of them in play fair.
I don't know if those count, right? If he's swinging and missing, there might only be swings and misses and balls put in play, right? So he fouls one off.
Oh, okay.
If he fouls one off, it probably doesn't come into the equation. But that would be a very interesting stat as well. I think it's with the at-bat ending at that time if he's swinging at a 2-strike pitch.
I see. Okay. Well, there you go. 2-2. And there's a swing and a high fly ball. Deep to left field. Rosario is back. It's gone. Beltre with a 3-run homer in the first inning. Rangers draw first blood this afternoon, and it's the confluence of like all the things we just talked about this inning. They homer every game. They get a lead in the first inning, and Beltre puts it in play with 2 strikes.
Well, this is a great at-bat, and after getting ahead 0-2, they wanted to go fastball up and in. That fastball was pretty much up and in at 96 miles an hour, but Adrian Beltre has seen this trick before, and he wasn't falling for it. He saw breaking balls early in the count. But Barrios thought he could finish him with a fastball up and in. He tried earlier, could not do it. Threw some off-speed pitches that he missed in the zone, and then he came back with a fastball up and in. And it's not too often that we see a pitcher do exactly what he wants to do with 2 strikes or pretty close to it, and he gives up a home run. That just kind of tells you all you need to know about Adrian Beltre and the great hitter that he is.
And with that home run, gives him double digits for the year, his 10th. That means the Rangers have, was it now 9? In double digits.
One more to tie the record. The record is 10 hitters with 10 or more home runs. The New York Yankees back in 2000 did that. The question is, who is our candidate? We need somebody to go on a run. We thought Jonathan Lucroy would have been the guy. He has since been traded.
Well, it's going to have a lot to do with playing time, because it's either going to be Ryan Rua, Drew Robinson, or Delano DeShields. Unless Brett Nicholas gets some time and goes crazy. That could happen too. Somebody's going to have to get hot, though.
Yes. Playing time, and they're going to have to be hot.
Oh, Dort thought he had ball 4 right there. Instead, takes a strike from Barrios, and it's 3-1. It was also the 10th home run allowed by Barrios this year, and a big bender sweeps right back in there for a strike as well.
And he split them right down the middle. 5 home runs allowed to left-handed hitters, 5 now to right-handed hitters on the season. And the batting averages against somewhat similar. Came into today 240 against lefties, 225 against the righties. So with that kind of stuff, not surprising to see that he's been pretty balanced against both lefties and righties.
Odor digs back in again. Rookie with 24 home runs this year. And fouls this one off. So a full count. Single, a walk, a home run this inning. Adrian Beltre with his 10th of the year, and he now has 32 RBIs. Barrios, this will be his 25th pitch of the inning. And it is strike 3 called, so Odor goes down looking. 2 strikeouts for Barrios.
This is a good fastball. It's got some life on it. Talk about the plus arm and perfectly located inner half, and it looked like Odor might have been looking for something maybe out over the plate or in the back of his mind thinking about that really good breaking ball, but instead he got a fastball middle lane and could not pull the trigger.
So now with 2 gone, bases empty for Mike Napoli. 2.01 average for Napoli.
You know, part of the Barrios game plan is to get hitters to chase out of the zone. He's been very good where he has gotten 36% chase rate. Fastballs up near the top or just above the zone. That'll put him in the top 15 in Major League Baseball. But after watching the Elvis Andrus strikeout, it was a good 2-seam fastball down on him with run. And you saw Elvis swing right over the top of it. You just kind of wonder a little bit if that maybe is the better plan. Elvis is a pretty good high ball hitter. We've seen him do well on pitches up in the zone, but he threw a really nasty pitch to Elvis. He gave Adrian Beltre a chance by elevating, which is what he wanted to do. So interesting strategy there that did not work out against Adrian Beltre for Barrios.
2 balls and a strike on Napoli now. Napoli, the only Ranger who's ever faced Barrios before, and you watch his strike 2. Faced him with the Cleveland Indians last year. Was 1 for 3 with a couple of walks against him. You see the numbers this year for Napoli. He got hot right around the All-Star break in terms of home runs, but lately has been in a little bit of a drought that way. Look out, that one comes in and got him. Well, Napoli is on. A hit batter extends the pain for Barrios.
And a little bit of pain here for Mike Napoli. It was a breaking ball, so it's not going to hurt as much as the fastball, but you see this one just get away from him as he kind of got under it a little bit. Kind of call that casting, right? Like if you're fishing, he casted that curveball, got under it, threw it out there, and it did not have the same break as some of the ones that we have seen earlier this inning.
So that gets Gallo to the plate in the first inning. You see a 5-game hitting streak, making very good contact, but 4 home runs in that 5-game streak. I don't think this is what Barrios had drawn up today. 30 pitches into this inning. And as great as numbers are for Gallo on this 5-game hitting streak, he has 7 home runs in the last 12 games, including one here Thursday night. He hit it into the second deck out in right center field. That one down in the dirt. 2-0 the count. Look at the American League leaders in home runs, and there Gallo sits. He's been there now the last couple of days. 4th in the league, only 5 away from the rookie Aaron Judge in New York, who leads the league. It's pretty good.
Bigger surprise there, Justin Smoke or Joey Gallo? Justin Smoke's been a huge surprise. The Blue Jays are loving that.
Big swing, but Gallo fouls this one back out of play. It's 2-1. It's a good question.
Justin Smoke was the guy. We talked about this last time we had shown that leaderboard, but they signed him up to a 2-year deal this past offseason. It was kind of an eye-opener, a little bit head-scratch. Like, oh, it's kind of interesting that they would go there with Justin Smoke, but it was part of the reason was they were trying to protect some of those free agents that they had in case none of them came back. Batista, Encarnacion. So they gave Justin Smoke that 2-year deal, and he has really rewarded them.
I'm gonna make him the bigger surprise in this case. Now Gallo, you know, who knew that he'd get as many at bats or be as constant in the lineup for the Rangers this year? But I think most people figured when he'd get the shot, he'd hit home runs. But for Smoke, I mean, he's already 11 past his career best of 20 homers in 2013. 2-2 is fouled off.
That's incredible. I mean, listen, we know where the game is. We talk about it all the time, the power, the home run numbers that are up. But that doesn't still stop you from every time we see a guy like that going, man, what's going on? What is going on with these home runs? The pitching definitely is not worse, right? Make the assumption the game is clean with all the tests. And we talked about Joey Gallo. He's saying he's got tested a couple of times after hitting home runs, those long ones that he hit. And there's another one.
That one launched to right field, and it is long gone. Wow, did that bounce off the parking garage in right field? Rather, beyond right field. A two-run blast for Joey Gallo. 30th of the year.
My goodness, that was an absolute bomb off the bat of Joey Gallo. We had talked yesterday about when Joey Gallo was here in the Futures game in Minnesota and how he hit that truck that was under the staircase that this ball went over. And you'll see it here. That's an absolute no-doubter. Boy, do I wish I knew what that feeling was like, because that looks super fun for Joey Gallo. But watch how high and far this thing goes. Over everything. I don't know if it hit the stairs, maybe it hit the backside of the stairs. We talked about what he did a couple of years ago. Of course, the All-Star game was here in 2014. He hits this ball. It's going to go below the stairs. You see the stairs there. There's the truck. He hit the truck, in batting practice, and then hit one right around it again. But this one, even further. And this is just fun to watch. That was absurd.
So it'll be very interesting to see how they measured that one. 5-0 Rangers. 2 home runs in the first inning, and Barrios continuing a nightmarish first inning for him.
What do you think? Back of the stairs? Is that what that hit, you think?
Yeah, maybe back of the stairs, or one of those.
Imagine walking down those stairs and a ball just goes flying by you out of nowhere.
Incoming. Carlos Gomez goes to a knee and fouls one off.
Well, as this pitch count continues to climb up now for Jose Barrios, what he has done over the course of this year, 10 of his 15 starts, he's gone at least 6 innings. He's been very good as far as getting deep in games. It's not looking like that'll be the case today.
I'm trailing 5-0. 1-1 the count on Gomez, 8th place hitter. And that one misses in. Gomez was hit by a pitch last night. Came in the ball game late. Oh boy, they got Duffy working in their pin already. Big sweeper in there. It's 2-2. Gomez was plunked with 2 out in the 9th inning last night and was not at all pleased about it. I talked to him this morning. He was still a little aggravated.
I don't mean to laugh. I get it.
He swings and misses, strike 3. So Barrios strikes out the side, but Adrian Beltre got him for a 3-run blast to start the scoring. That would not be all. Joey Gallo continuing to turn heads. His 30th of the year, and that one went a mile. 5-0 Rangers. flexing their muscles with a 5-0 start. And now, as we go into the bottom of the first inning, let's take a look at the Twins starting lineup today. 52 wins, 56 losses. Dozier, Mauer, Escobar, and Rosario at the top. They're trying to mix things up a little bit, see if they can get some things going offensively. DH Robbie Grossman, Kepler, Buxton, Jason Castro catches, and Jorge Polanco, the shortstop, rounds it out.
And they'll be going up against Nick Martinez in those fantastic stirrups that he's wearing. Old school for Nick Martinez. Let's take a look at the arsenal for him. 55% of the time you will see a fastball that sits at 93. And then the secondary offerings, he does a really nice job of mixing up the curveball, the cutter, and the change. The cutter has been particularly important for him. He got rid of the slider, went to the cutter, and how about just a 197 batting average against that cutter so far this year for Nick Martinez.
So Brian Dozier, first opponent for Martinez today. Dozier's had a decent series. 19 home runs now with those 54 RBIs. And you can see, not afraid to swing big to start a game. Gets this one in the air over to the right side, out of play.
He's not, and we know a lot of power, of course, last year for Brian Dozier. We've seen it in this series as well. A couple of home runs. It's been a little bit of a different feel. At the same time, you can't expect this guy with that awesome picture right there. It's good to see that he's got himself a little bit of an endorsement. But you can't expect when a guy has a career year like that you're going to see it again. Right, all those home runs. I mean, it was a big number to think that, okay, well, now you have a 40 home run hitting second baseman pretty regularly. No, that's a pretty unfair expectation to put on Brian Dozier.
Well, Friday night hit a leadoff homer. Homered again in the second inning. And Martinez trying to take him upstairs that time. 2-2 the count. Dozier, like a lot of guys who have hit home runs lately, also strikes out a lot. Boy, as a leadoff guy, 98 strikeouts this year. And he strikes out for the 99th time. Goes down looking here at the bottom of the first.
Well, nice start to the game here for Nick Martinez. He has been spotted 5 runs. You love getting the early run support, and 1 batter in. There's 94 miles an hour dotted on the corner. Perfect location. You see that ball come back just a little bit. You're not going to throw it any better than that.
So a nice way for this one to get going for Nick Martinez. 3 wins, 4 losses, a .507 earned run average. And he'll look at Joe Mauer and bump it right in there. So Mauer's numbers for the year. Power numbers down in recent years for Mauer. 1-1 the count. Mauer 34 years old now. Hitless in his last 5 at bats. That one comes in. It's 2-1. Well, as he got a little older, Twins had to move him from out behind home plate, and even still can get dinged up a little bit. He is a big man, 6'5", 225 pounds, but missed some time this year on the DL, lower back strain. 3 balls and a strike now. Martinez winds it up. Mauer shanks it foul. So full count. 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the first. Martinez with this start now today, his 13th of the year, gives him as many starts as Cole Hamels. Which is only interesting in that he's been up and down a handful of times this year. And he misses outside. That's ball 4. Mauer is on with a walk.
All right, let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Nomar Mazara, Carlos Gomez, and Chu in the outfield. There's Joey Gallo playing third base today. Adrian Beltre, of course, is the DH. Elvis Andrews, Rui Denodor, Mike Napoli, and Robinson Chirinos will be catching Martinez.
A man on now, and brings up Eduardo Escobar. And he will take strike one. Mentioned Martinez has been up and down a few times. As you a little sense for what's out there today weather-wise. There is word of some threatening weather on the way. Might indeed be here, just waiting to unleash.
A little dark here. Absolutely, a little bit dark here all of a sudden this afternoon. Looked a little bit later like it's an opportunity maybe to get worse. At least that's what the weather report said around 5 o'clock. 35–40% chance of some thunderstorms. Hopefully this game will be long over by then.
1-1 pitch. A little bit outside. 2-1 to Escobar. Talking about Martinez, though, his third tour now with the Rangers. Most recently called up just after the trade deadline. Gave up 7 runs in 5 1/3 innings. His last start against Seattle. Fouled away by Escobar. The fan makes a nice play as a souvenir.
Some good movement on that fastball at the very end from Nick Martinez. 93-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball that had some really good late life, and that's the pitch you want to use to try to get yourself that ground ball, get you the double play. Set up all finished that far off the zone. A little bit of vertical tilt to that, and it's most likely a ground ball.
There's a swing and a miss by Escobar, and the second strikeout of the inning for Martinez. It's a 5-0 game, and every out has been a strikeout in this one.
Pretty hard to believe here. It's a good job here by Nick. Look at the target up and in. He missed up and away, but enough to entice Escobar, to go out of the zone. You see, before his swing was even finished, he was frustrated with himself.
So 2 away, and here is Eddie Rosario, and he'll foul one off. Rosario last night went hitless, and that was news. The only time the Rangers have held him hitless since he has joined the Twins. He was 0 for 3 last night, out of which the Twins got just 4 hits and 1 unearned run. That one pulled foul. The count 0-2. The opener on Thursday night, the Twins were held to 3 hits and a run. So a couple of really slow offensive nights for the Twins in this series. I mentioned earlier, one of the things they're trying to do today, shake things up a little bit with Eduardo Escobar, who just struck out, and this guy, Eddie Rosario, right in the heart of the order at 3 and 4. 1-2 the count. Of course, the other bit of news around here is it's a second straight game that Miguel Sano has not been able to start. Went down to see him yesterday. His hand was really swollen up, did not look good at all, and didn't improve a whole lot apparently overnight. And so Paul Molitor said that after his cage work today, they'd check in with Sano again to see if maybe he might be available to pinch hit or contribute late in this game. But that's a big bat for Paul Molitor to be without on a series where they just haven't shown up real big offensively.
No, whenever you don't have Miguel Sano in that lineup, it changes everything. It changes everything for Nick Martinez, the way that he attacks these guys, and certainly a huge threat in the middle of the order.
Well, Nick Martinez strikes out the side. Both starters have done so through the first inning. It's 5-0 Rangers. Clouds are building in the distance, but the Rangers building a lead early on. 5 runs in the first inning. Robinson Chirinos now will lead off the second. We'll turn things back over to the top of the order after that. Trying to take 3 of 4 from Minnesota before heading on for some National League play out of New York against the Mets. And our Kubota power stats this afternoon. Barrios, 11 strikeout game against Colorado this year. That was back in May.
Certainly impressive. He has since turned 23 years old. But to do that at 22, his birthday in late May this year. Always fun to see when guys are born the year you're drafted. Makes you feel pretty good about how old you really are.
Breaking ball hit well to center field, but Buxton with some room out there. That is out number 1. Well, head on out to the ballpark for Star Wars weekend. The first 15,000 fans to the ballpark on Saturday, September 2nd. They're going to get a Rangers Star Wars bobblehead, courtesy of Globe Life Insurance. It's the Rangers and Angels, a 6:15 game. So you get your tickets now at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Star Wars fireworks on Friday night, the bobblehead on Saturday. That'll be a fun weekend. As we get going now here with 1 out and ball 1 to Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, Barrios threw 41 pitches in that first inning, and mentioned 23 years old and kind of, what they believe to be their future ace in this rotation. They'll keep a very close eye on him. We already saw action in the first inning in that Minnesota Twins bullpen, so certainly Paul Molitor would love to see Barrios get a little bit efficient. He has been this year. He's done a very good job. 15.9 pitches per inning has been his average so far. It's very impressive for a young pitcher, so we'll see if we can somehow find a way to rattle off a couple of those and manage his pitch count.
That was 2-1 pitch to Choo. Is swing and a miss. 2-2 the count. Choo had a hit in the first inning. Leslie and I bumped into him today in the clubhouse, Leslie, and he had a strategy for today.
Yeah, if you'll notice a little change today, his pant legs are down instead of being up. It's all about superstition. You guys know that with baseball.
Well, line drive center field, and this one hauled in by Buxton, 2 away.
Yeah, it matters. If you feel like for some reason you got to switch it up and whatever's going on. Not only that, you're noticing different shoes there, right? Are we seeing the Delino DeShields Adidas on the left, right? Wasn't he wearing Delino shoes earlier this year? That looks like there may be some, I don't know if those are Mizunos or Asics on the right. We got some pants changes and some shoe changes here.
He said normally they're up, and he said, that's because if you go 0 for 4, it's okay. But he said the fact that last night I went 0 for 5, that's not okay. I got to change things up.
Now, some guys, CJ, they're like superstitious about being superstitious, right? You say like, hey, do you have any superstitions? Oh, not really. Maybe just one thing. Choo was literally standing at his locker today when we were walking by, and he goes, "Pant legs down, pant legs down today." We said, what do you got going? He's like, I'm going 0 for 5. Yeah. No good. Pant legs going down. And
that's funny.
Then we got going with him about that superstition, and it led into a whole lot. He was folding his laundry today, and he was talking about that superstitions at home. He's got a lot going on, man.
Folding his laundry.
He's folding all of his travel equipment, getting ready, packing up. And
he was packing his own bag.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
Yes,
really?
Yes. That's don't touch it.
Wow. Don't touch my stuff.
It was quite a stack too. I mean, he was really working. This ball hit well out to left field. Rosario racing back. That one's over his head. Elvis Andrus cruises to second with a 2-out double. '30th of the year for Elvis. He's just looking for a little love from that dugout. Come on, man.
Yeah. The guys are as interested as much. They had the big inning already. Now Elvis saying, hey, man, what about me? Here's a breaking ball that hangs. And, the finish spot isn't bad, but it's the way that it got there, right? This ball got a little bit loopy. Elvis does a nice job driving it to left center field, staying back on it. Now, the thing about the Barrios breaking ball, Chris Jimenez, another catcher here with the Minnesota Twins, has talked about how good it is. And he's obviously caught Yu Darvish here with the Rangers, and he caught Corey Kluber with the Indians. And he said Berrios' breaking ball is very similar to those guys. He would put it in that category. Now, we haven't seen it here today, but he would put that pitch in that category and saying getting pretty close to what those guys are bringing to the table. And when you look at tightness of the rotation, but then also the way both Kluber and Darvish throw that breaking ball, and at times looks like a curveball, hard curveball, and other times it'll look like a slider.
Hard ground ball down to first. Mauer takes care of it, and the inning is done. So Rangers can't add to the lead. The rain starts to fall. We've played 1.5. It's 5-0.
Really starting to come down now here at Target Field as Nick Martinez takes the mound for the bottom of the second after striking out the side in the bottom of the first. I talked to Robinson Chirinos before today's game to get an idea of what the game plan was, and he told me our State Farm winning combination is basically to attack the hitters and throw around the zone. He felt like these Minnesota guys swing early and swing late, and he felt like if Nick could execute and make his pitches, guys, he would get some quick outs.
Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, that is kind of pitching 101. You got to know your lineup as well. But for Nick Martinez, yes, filling up the zone is important. He's done a nice job. 63% strikes this year, 60% first pitch strikes. All those are really good numbers. So it's been something that he has done pretty consistently. You know, and then of course you get ahead in the count and you try to get guys to chase, and he did a nice job of that in the first inning as well.
Got 3 strikeouts in the first, and now Grossman fouls one off to make it 1-1. The rain started to fall right at the end of the top of the second inning. A lot of fans went running for cover, and saw the grounds crew come out. Talking to our umpiring crew today, Mark Wagner over at third base was getting the report. And so we will see. They are on high alert today about the rain. The 1-2 pitch. And this one lined into left field. So a base hit for Grossman. First hit for Minnesota this afternoon.
Encouraging, though, that rain was heavy, but then disappeared pretty quickly. Looks like it's pretty much backed off, or just a drizzle at this point. So nothing significant yet. Now there is some, as I mentioned, some heavier rain in the forecast for later today, but hopefully we'll get this game in before that gets here.
Well, lead man on here in the second inning. And here is Max Kepler, right fielder.
Now Leslie giving us a look and say, what do you mean it's hardly raining? I mean, it's really dry here. Where you and I are right now. I mean, I don't even feel anything.
No,
I love how you guys, every time it rains during a game, you become weathermen, and you're sitting underneath a roof. You have no idea. It is pouring.
It is pouring, but it's thin, right? Is it a thin rain? Because you can barely see it. Is that fair, Dave?
It's a thin rain, but it is heavily coming down.
So it's thin and heavy.
There you go.
That makes perfect sense.
I don't know.
I should have been a weatherman.
I feel nothing.
Trying here.
No dots on my shirt, no marks, nothing.
2-0 the count to Kepler. Kepler initially told us he didn't think it was a heavy rain. As he golfs this one out to right field, and that one will end up in the seats. Solo, rather, 2-run blast by Kepler. His 11th of the year. Gets the Twins on the board and makes it a 3-run game.
Max Kepler's got some pretty significant splits. He struggles against lefties, but righties he has hit very well this year. This is a perfect pitch for a lefty to drive out of the ballpark. We talk about the sweet spot being down and in. Robinson Chirinos wanted that ball belt high, but instead it finished down and in. It was a strike, but to lefties with some power, that is a spot that almost all of them love to get a fastball. And for Max Kepler, number 11, is right where he wanted it. He got that ball to the second deck. That had some carry on.
So now Buxton, and he'll foul one back our direction. Byron Buxton, speedy center fielder, but the numbers at the plate not where they were or where they expect him ultimately to be with Buxton. He is still so young and learning the ropes. 23 years old, the 2nd overall pick in 2012 behind Carlos Correa of the Houston Astros, and that was a surprise pick. When the Astros picked Correa, I think that stunned a lot of people who had more or less assumed that Buxton would be the guy. Twins were tickled pink that he was available, and I mean, he's a dazzling defensive center fielder, incredible speed. And I feel like one day when everything falls into place offensively, he'll be quite the weapon.
And like you said, still very young. I think we jump ahead of ourselves so much because there is so much talk about prospects, so much coverage early on, especially in their amateur years, and the expectations that get put on some of these guys. It's pretty difficult to live up to. 219 hitter now through his parts of 3 seasons at the big league level. But yeah, you can see it. The tools are there, and we'll see whether or not it actually ever comes.
Well, he takes strike 3, and that's been one of the problems. Buxton's 94th strikeout of the year. 1 away.
And a good breaking ball for Nick Martinez, and this is a nice combination. Even though the ball's a little bit up, you just saw Byron Buxton hit a fastball down the left field line, one that was in, right? So you speed up his bat a little bit, you go back to the other side of the plate with a curveball and completely get him thrown off, and that's good execution and a good game plan by Nick Martinez and Robinson Chirinos.
So the 1 gone, Jason Castro, and he takes ball 1.
All right, so what about now, Leslie? Now it doesn't look like it's that bad.
Yeah, no, this is really a heavy sprinkle at this point. Let's move beyond the drizzle. This is 2-0. Yeah, this is pretty good rain right here. When we got here Thursday night, there were times that I felt like we might get 2 or 3 inches of snow. Temperatures in the 50s when we got here felt really abnormal as Castro pops it foul and up into the empty seats. Temperatures have come back to normal. Like it was 74 degrees today, game time.
There's the guys you don't want to see.
Nope.
The crew right there. That is the grounds crew getting ready at a moment's notice if they're told to get that tarp on the field. They'll do it as quickly as possible, try to save the infield from taking on as much water as possible.
At this point, they're waiting for any call from the umpires. Now, typically, you'll see an inning finish, and then they'll get it out there quickly. But the rain's coming down so quickly, and there's some spots on the field already starting to show up back behind third base. Like it's shiny like it is out there, and here they come. You got to be careful. They don't want to get the field so wet that it gets beyond repair. So here comes the grounds crew, and we go into our first delay of the afternoon. 5-2 game. And now that the next big question, CJ, or desire, is that it is not a long delay. You don't want to lose your starting pitching if if you can avoid it.
Yep, 45 minutes is usually the window, and you treat every pitcher differently, every situation. I think that's probably a fair number for Nick Martinez, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe max. And that's probably pushing it a little bit. It may be a little bit different for Barrios because, again, you got a young pitcher, and he threw 41 pitches in that first inning. And so they may be a little more precautious with him. I got to think under even 30 minutes, and I probably would not put him back out there. I'd say maybe 20 because he's already sat, right? Because, of course, Nick Martinez was out there. He would sit even longer because Nick Martinez or whoever's pitching for the Rangers would come out and finish that inning. So you have to add that time on as well, not just the rain delay, but the time from the third out in the top of the second inning to when he would actually be on the mound in the third. So if there is any significant time to this rain delay, I got to believe that there's a good chance we have seen the last of Jose Barrios.
Boy, pretty good effort right there by the grounds crew to get that thing on as quickly as possible. And we are now officially in a rain delay. We will take a break. When we come out of the break, Rick Renner, Tom Grieve, Mike Bassick, they'll keep you updated from the studio. No doubt frequent check-ins here from the ballpark. A rain delay this afternoon in the Twin Cities. he's not that guy. Nick Martinez, he's ready to go. Warmed up again. The count 3 balls and a strike on Byron Buxton when we went into the delay. Pardon me, on Castro rather. And he'll foul the first one off, so it's now a full count. Well, Castro, the 8th place hitter, 1 out here on the bottom of the 2nd inning, a 5-2 game. Max Kepler homered earlier in the inning, and yes, clear skies are out there. So a little bit of rain here, short delay. And the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Castro strikes out, and that is the 5th strikeout so far today for Nick Martinez.
Yeah, don't be afraid to use your defense. It's a good one here with the Texas Rangers, but Nick Martinez not interested. Perfect execution and location on that fastball at 92 miles an hour, and 5 outs, 5 strikeouts for Martinez. I mean, how long ago does that Kepler home run feel like it was? That was this inning.
Right. Now it feels like a long time ago. Yesterday, in fact. Here is Jorge Polanco. And he takes one high. So we are basically an hour and a half past the start time of this game. And the Rangers have yet to field a ball. 32-minute rain delay. That adds to things just a little bit. But nonetheless, 5 outs recorded by Martinez, all on strikeouts. He has issued a walk. I guess the Grossman base hit, right? Somebody had to field that. So you have to field a base hit. That's the only time anybody's had a chance to touch the baseball back of Martinez today. He's behind 3-0 here to Polanco.
Let's see, no action in the Minnesota Twins bullpen, which tells me that Berrios will be going back out there. Remember, I said maybe 30 minutes was probably near that mark for them. It would have been much longer for Nick Martinez, but you just said at 32 minutes, plus of course the beginning of the first inning, and now the 2nd inning, and now how long the rest of the 2nd inning will take. He'll be looking at a good, I would say, pushing 40 minutes here, maybe a little bit more than that, 40 to 45, since he's thrown his last pitch.
Well, there's ball 4, and Polanco takes his base. The 2nd walk issued by Martinez, and out of the top of the order for Brian Dozier. Dozier struck out looking in the 1st inning. 0 for 1 today. We mentioned the home runs he hit a couple of nights ago here. That was on Friday night. Had the leadoff homer in the 1st, homered again in the 2nd inning of that one. And a breaking ball off the plate, ball 1. So a 5-2 game. 3 home runs already in this one today. Martinez able to stay in through the rain delay. And the 1-0 to Dozier. That one is high. Throw back down to 1st to check in on Polanco, and did not have an audacious lead down there. And Chirinos wants to have a word with Nick Martinez. Is this about the base runner, do you suppose?
No, I think this is about maybe anything that he may see. We know, of course, we heard earlier from Leslie that Robinson Chirinos and Nick Martinez had talked about the game plan, what they want to do, and you're in a spot here where your team is giving you those 5 runs, and you just gave 2 back. The long rain delay, you just saw he did a nice job of striking out Castro, but then it's a walk to Polanco, and now falling behind Brian Dozier. I think it's more about what they want to do behind in the count and making sure that they're on the same page with location and pitch selection.
All right, to 2-0. And this ball is golfed out to left field. No play from Mazara. It's into the seats. A 2-run homer for Dozier. Well, a pair of home runs this inning by Minnesota makes it a 5-4 game.
Well, whatever the conversation was, the result was not what Nick Martinez or Robinson Chirinos wanted. We'll take a look at the replay here. They were trying to go down and away, and Nick Martinez unfortunately missed down and in. Completely opposite of what they were hoping to do. 92-mile-an-hour fastball that Brian Dozier puts a good swing on in a 2-0 count.
So a 4-run inning, and here is Joe Mauer. Mauer walked in the first inning. Well, it was a 5-0 start, but the Twins get right back into it. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mauer. Gets on at a 368 clip. Still one of the best in the game in that regard. And also a guy, and I suppose they go largely hand in hand. A guy who has a high on base percentage. Usually a guy who's going to see a lot of pitches in an at bat. And we saw it a couple of nights ago, 10 pitches, 8 pitches. Really put some battles on guys, and it's now 2-2.
No, he certainly can. The power's gone, or down at least significantly. He hit those 28 home runs. I think it was the last year in the Metrodome. Right? Is that right? I think that those weren't here. Those are definitely in the Metrodome. But anyway, 28 there, and then things changed dramatically for Joe Mauer, but he can still, like you said, put together good at-bats.
That one out into left field, and Mazara able to make the shoestring grab. A 4-run inning on a couple of home runs. We've played 2. It's a 5-4 game.
Leading the Twins, Adrian Beltre will be coming up, but let's take you to his first at-bat back in the first inning, and we'll go pitch by pitch against Jose Barrios. You'll see a curveball there taken for a strike, a really good one after that, located down and away, but then Barrios tries to go with the fastball up and in, and that's probably the best swing that we had seen from Adrian Beltre up to this point. So breaking balls out of the zone, they go back to the fastball one more time, and listen, it is very easy to second guess after a guy lets up a home run, but you look at the reaction to the breaking ball. At that point, we saw one good swing from Adrian Beltre prior to the home run. It was on the fastball that was in off the plate, or up and in, I should say, in the inside part of the plate. Go back there again certainly did appear to be a mistake by Jose Barrios.
Well, here is Adrian Beltre, and Barrios back out after the long delay and the long half inning. The combination of the two lengthy enough that I would suggest it'll be interesting in the first couple hitters just to see how he reacts.
It had to be 45 minutes, right, when it was all said and done? 32-minute rain delay.
Yeah, that half inning itself, when you start looking at 4 runs, couple of big homers. I mean, that was an 8-batter, rather 7-batter inning. Yeah, no, I think that had to be well in excess of 45 minutes. So Beltre takes a ball, and the next pitch lofted out to center field. Buxton coming in. 1 away. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to the studios once again with Rick Renner. There you go. Thanks, Rick. Wait here in the third inning, and Rougned Odor will step in. Rangers got all 5 of their runs in the first inning. Beltre with a 3-run homer, and Gallo with the big 2-run shot. An impressive start against Barrios, but they have given 4 back. Odor went down looking in the first. One finds the inside corner, 1-1 the count.
Interesting to see Rougned Odor take some fastballs against Barrios. You wonder a little bit if he's not picking it up as well, if that ball is jumping on him a little bit more. That's a 1-0 count. We know how aggressive Odor can be, and not to say that was an easy pitch to hit. It wasn't. I don't see him taking that many fastballs in the strike zone, unless he's guessing along a little bit. But you see the really good breaking ball there. We saw Rougned Odor take a called fastball for strike 3 back in the first inning, and to see him take a couple of fastballs in the zone, very rare already here through a couple of bats.
And then a hole here, 1-2. That one bounces away from Castro, or maybe more accurately said, bounces away off Castro.
So this is that breaking ball, and what Barrios is trying to do is go back foot down and in, seeing if he can get Rougned to swing over it, but he went a little bit too far down and no offering. Did that catch him in the bare hand?
I think it caught him on the inside of his right knee.
Oh, okay. I think that would feel any better.
2-2. Big swing and a miss, so Odor strikes out swinging, 2 away.
Well, this was the fastball again, and it was 95 miles an hour from Barrios as he gets it by Rougned Odor up in the strike zone. I had mentioned that earlier, that is a pitch for Barrios that he likes to use. You see the elevation there from the side. He's been very successful in getting hitters to go out of the zone. Talked about it earlier. 36% chase rate on that pitch right there. 10% better than league average.
Oh, the base is empty. Here's Mike Napoli. One and one. The count to Napoli. Just got a piece of his bat. Was hit by a pitch, scored a run in that first inning. Rios, did he get him to chase that one? No. 2-1 the count. Boy, the sunshine now spread across the field. Beautiful looking day. Look at that. It is. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
It's like Florida, right? The thunderstorms come in, they clear out, and then it's sunny.
Oh boy, that one hit sharply foul and into the Rangers dugout, and boy, those are tough. You always worry you guys might not get out of the way in time, and that one did not sound good.
Went into the bullpen. We saw AJ Griffin standing there. Looking like he might have just missed him. Who else was over there?
We hope everyone's all right. 2-2. And there's a swing and a miss. Napoli goes down swinging. It's a 1-2-3, top of the third for Barrios. We played 2.5. It's a 1-run game. Time now for our Coors timeless moment on this date, 2011. Kenny Rogers was woken up by that alarm clock. How about this? August 13th, it is the talking alarm clock giveaway. It's the Astros and the Rangers. And you can go to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets. You get that great piece. Looking forward to that one. Also looking forward to telling you about Kenny Rogers at some point as this one fouled off. And the count 1-1 on Escobar. Sometimes I just get really excited, CJ. It happens.
Yeah, I know. I've witnessed it. Who knew the gambler was such a fan of the alarm clock?
No different Kenny Rogers, but
oh, I figured if we're gonna go with the inaccuracies, why not go all the way in?
Because that's what we do as a normal course. We're trying to shake things up. Escobar struck out in the first. Eddie Rosario, when we were waiting on deck, he did the same thing. Well, big inning, an important inning right here for Nick Martinez. Twins got 4 runs in their last at bat, and then the Rangers were very quiet when they got back up. You don't want the momentum to shift to the side of Minnesota this early in the game.
No, you definitely do not. The Rangers did a great job getting out front 5-0, and then all of a sudden now, like you said, right back in, and other Twins with a couple of home runs of their own. And so Barrios looks a little bit locked in. He looked really good his last inning. No effect at all on that long rain delay for him. He looked really sharp. Fastball was good. Breaking ball was good. And so now it's going to be on Nick Martinez, his turn to bounce back and throw up a 0.
3-2 pitch, and this ball hit high in the air out to left center field. Gomez ranging to his right and takes care of it for out number 1. All right, so I was getting a little excited now. The Coors timeless moment. Thanks to the guys for playing along with me here. 2011, on this date, Kenny Rogers, not the gambler, became the 14th member of the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. 12 great years with the Rangers. Rogers won 133, lost 96. In a Rangers uniform.
Well, I think that begs the question. When did Kenny Rogers get into the Country Music Hall of Fame? Before or after the other Kenny Rogers?
Man. Breaking ball. Strike to Rosario. That's the type of thing that I could make, let's say, 12 to 13 guesses and probably.
But no, you get one before or after. We said 14 years ago, right? We said 14.
Yep, 14 years ago. I'll say after. Foul ball by Rosario. The count 1-2.
You would be correct.
Really?
Yep. I'm reading this right. 2013.
Oh yeah. 2 years later. One out here. And the 1-2. That one left up. And it's hit away. It's out toward right field. And it is gone. Rosario's 12th home run of the year. And he has tied this game. 5-5 in the 3rd inning.
Well, this is a little bit of a surprise to see the Twins bounce back the way that they have and to use the long ball to do it. Look at the target up and in. You'll see the ball up over the plate. And what that does, it allows Rosario to just get his arms extended. If you hit the glove there and go up and in, that's going to be a pretty difficult ball to try to get to for a left-handed hitter. But because it leaked out over the plate more than Nick Martinez wanted it to, gave Rosario the opportunity to square that baseball up the way that he did.
So a new game. Now the 1-0 to Grossman finds the outside corner.
10 runs right now, almost 3 innings complete, every single one of them via the home run. That's unbelievable.
Well, so far these first 3 innings really patented 2017 baseball for all of Major League Baseball, right? You mentioned all the home runs. The other runners who were on base at the time of the home runs, 2 walks, a hit batter. and 2 hits. So, I mean, even the guys who have gotten on, you know, walks as popular as anything to get them there. Fly ball out to right field. Back goes Chu and makes a leaping catch near the wall for out number 2.
What a great play here by Chu. I couldn't tell off the bat. I thought this one was going to get all over his head right away, but you saw him looking for the wall and realizing he had a chance at this, and he plays it perfectly and makes a nice play. Nick Martinez certainly thrilled because he's probably thinking the same thing off the bat. That one looked like it had a little bit of carry, but nice catch by Chu.
So 2 away now. And here's Max Kepler. So you have all the walks, you have all the home runs. Martinez with 5 strikeouts. 5 strikeouts so far for Barrios. So 10 runs, 10 strikeouts. I don't know. That's exactly where baseball has gone in the last couple of years. Kepler's home run of the 2nd inning was his 11th of the year. And a bender swung on and missed. Austin Bibbins Dirks. Might be a short day for Nick Martinez. The 1-2 pitch, and it's downstairs.
Jeff Bannister obviously does not want this thing to get away from the Rangers and Nick Martinez, and so that's why we see Austin up in that bullpen right now. It's a strange game to watch him with his 5 strikeouts. A couple of walks, but those home runs as well.
Bouncer left side. Great play by Gallo, and who spins and makes that good throw to get Kepler, and it ends the inning. Real nice pick just to get to the ball. Inning done. They add another run, and we're square through 3.
AT&T high-speed replay, and we got to go to Joey Gallo because what we saw him do earlier in this game is worth replaying. That bomb in the 1st inning even got Adrian Beltre excited. It hit the back of that staircase, then took off and bounced, and it looked like it actually hit a worker in the back who wasn't even looking at the game. And so where that thing ended up was a long, long way away from home plate. So of course that has to be our AT&T high-speed replay of this game.
At the time, it gave the Rangers a 5-0 lead. Since then, Twins have chipped away at it, and we are now tied going into this 4th inning. Gallo, Gomez, Chirinos, bottom 3rd of the order for the Rangers. The last inning was a foul ball that went into the Rangers dugout. Looked like it caught Beltre on the back of the head. He went into the clubhouse of his own accord and We will see when his spot comes back around. Could be an inning or so. Exactly how he's doing as a ground ball to second base. Retires Gallo, one away. Now here's Carlos Gomez. Gomez struck out swinging in the first. Trying to bunt on Barrios.
Interesting tactic. He is a very, very good athlete. So if you're going to bunt, you're going to have to make sure it is a good one. You give him any chance to field his position, and there's an area where he is excellent.
Oh, and 2 the count.
You could see it. I mentioned Chris Jimenez's comments on the Barrios breaking ball and how he can do some different things. What he hates, when you get a guy that has a breaking pitch that both looks like a slider and a curveball, very similar to Corey Kluber. You could say the same thing about Chris Archer. And there's another good one right there on the corner. A lot of times that conversation will go to, they'll call it a slurve. The problem with using that phrase, it just sounds like it doesn't sound necessarily like it's an intimidating or great breaking pitch. But watch this one here. That starts in the middle of the zone. That's a little bit of a smaller one, has a little bit more of a slider, look tighter than the one he threw before that. It's the same pitch, and so you vary velocities, you vary breaks on it, and it has a tendency to fall into that slurve category. It was funny, the column that I was reading, and Jimmy said, oh, I just don't like using that word, and I never liked it either, because it just sounds sloppy. Right? Slurve makes it seem like, cutter sounds sharp, slider sounds sharp, curveball, you get the idea. But think of a slurve, yes, it's in between a slider and a curveball, but it just doesn't carry the weight that a breaking ball like that should.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because it seems like there is a connotation to slurve, right? Which is that a guy, he's somewhere between, but not necessarily by design, right? It's not good enough break downward to be a curve. You know, it just.
I'm with you. I don't love that word. And then there's another one that you rarely see, which I don't like either, where you get the slider curveball and caught in between. And on one of the websites that we use for our information, they call it a slutter.
That's really not very
I don't
good.
like that word at all. I just don't like it, and I don't think it describes anything really well, at least in baseball terms. And so I figured, let's stay. I'm not making that up. I've seen it on one of the great information website, without a doubt. But I would like to see that go away.
This one in on the handle, popped up by Chirinos, and it completes a 1-2-3 inning for Barrios, and Chirinos lost a bat. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, tied at 5. Of an inning, and it's 5-5 going to the 5th inning. Hey, the Rangers will officially retire Ivan Rodriguez's number 7 on Saturday, but before this special day, we're going to give you 7 days of Pudge. We begin Day one where it all started, June 20th, 1991, his major league debut, a game where he got his first career hit and RBI. Also showed off his Hall of Fame arm, all at the age of 19. Here you go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Pretty good.
That wasn't even close. Not even remotely close. That's when word got out.
Yeah.
Oh, heads up. This guy's got a hose. That's exactly what was said.
Well, a bunt attempt, first base side. That is a fair ball and a base hit for Buxton.
In the world? I've never seen that. I mean, that is amazing. As soon as he bunted that, your first thought was, nope, too hard, too close to the bag. But because look where Mike Napoli's playing, because of where he is, Byron Buxton did not intentionally hit this ball that hard. It actually cleared the grass in the air. And so even if Napoli feels that cleanly, there's no way Nick Martinez is going to be there in time. Not with Byron Buxton, the way that he runs. I've never seen it. That is.
If he hits
that's a strange bunt.
If he hits that just a little bit harder, it's a double.
Yeah. Well, if Mike Napoli's over a couple steps, it definitely is a double.
That is.
Get the exit velocity on that bunt.
So he's aboard for Jason Castro. Castro struck out in the second inning, but they're going to check in on Buxton. Buxton with 18 steals and 19 attempts. So again, you do want to keep as close as possible. They'll try it again. This one gets away, but Buxton not going anywhere. Four runs in the second, another in the third against Nick Martinez. And just like that, a 5-run lead evaporated. Runner goes. Pitch is bluffed. And that one hits the outside corner for a strike. So good bluff by Buxton.
And the hard fake, a couple different things, reasons that could serve. One of them might just be that he started to get the jump and then didn't like how it felt. The other part of that is trying to get Robinson Chirinos to maybe come out of his squat a little bit earlier, right? If it's a breaking ball, and maybe an opportunity to force him to mishandle a pitch as well.
All right, we talk a lot about framing and presentation as a catcher, and sometimes on those types of plays you might lose a strike getting yourself in a position to throw, but in that case, actually got a strike there for Martinez. Buxton with another decent lead, not going, and there's a swing, and that one fouled back. It's 0-2. Well, the next pitch from Nick Martinez will be his 75th of the day. It's been a high pitch count ball game for him to this point. The damage really done in that second inning when the Twins sent 7 batters to the plate, got a couple of home runs. Twins are 4 games under 500 coming into play today. Not out of the wild card, but there was a time a little over a week ago where they were very much in the division conversation. Breaking ball, that one in the dirt. It's 1-2. I think they were thinking along those lines much more so than they were thinking along the lines of a wild card. But then, like in a span of a week, they went from a half game ahead to like 6.5 out. And so the story changed here very rapidly. But both the Rangers and the Twins, in terms of the wild card race, exactly 4 games out coming into play today.
Martinez will continue to work on Byron Buxton as much as the local Minnesota Twins fans here don't like it. It's the smart play. You know how well he can run. We've talked about it. 18 stolen bases. That's a good lead right there. Tie game here in the 4th inning. You cannot give up on Byron Buxton.
Not going, and the pitch is outside. It's 2-2. So again, the good lead. 2-2 pitch off the plate, so full count. Castro, now 30 years old, longtime Houston Astro, and another former first-round draft pick. It's his first year with the Twins, and he's always been a real patient hitter, guy who will work a count. And he did strike out in the second inning, but has worked it full here. 3-2. Runner does go, and a fly ball out to center field. Gomez going back. The ball carrying pretty well. Gomez at the wall. He leaps, and he made the great catch. Buxton returns to first. What a play by Carlos Gomez, and straightaway center field.
Not only a great play, but an important play, because Carlos Gomez just saved a run here for the Rangers and Nick Martinez. And take a look at Carlos as he's going back. As this ball continues to carry, he takes one peek to find out where the wall is and times his leap perfectly. See him stutter step there just to get his timing down. A perfect catch, and comes up throwing. At the time that he caught that baseball, Byron Buxton, wisely so, was standing on second base, exactly where he should have been. And if that ball gets off over Carlos Gomez's head and goes off the wall, Byron Buxton is going to score easily.
So one real big out, and now a bunt laid down in front of the plate. Chirinos will throw to first, and he gets Polanco, who will be credited with a sacrifice. Buxton goes to second base, but there are two out.
You think so?
I mean,
one out?
You know, I would guess.
I already put down a 2-3. He's not getting a sacrifice in my book.
No sack. Okay.
Boom! Can't give it. Come on, man. There's one out.
I understand.
You're a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate your niceness. And we know Paul Molitor comes from a different generation, right? Small ball, a big part of the game that he knew, the game that he played. Even though he had some power, he was all about the contact, walks, and sack bunts, and I don't doubt for a second he believes in that probably more than a lot of the new school guys do. But I don't think he's doing it in that spot. No outs? Absolutely. Even if you're trying to bunt for a hit.
I'm not saying he was bunting, that he was told to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like, my point was that more times than not, they're given a sacrifice.
I'm not a fan. One out, even if it's not the intent, like even if you're bunting for a hit, I can't give a guy a sacrifice, because that's such a bad baseball play. You got to punish those that deserve to be punished.
Well, let me ask you this. Buxton out there at second. One over to Dozier, and that one is in there. Do you like Polanco bunting at all?
I don't mind him bunting for a base hit. If he's struggling, not feeling good, whatever it may be. He walked in his first at bat. He is a 9-hole hitter. Not the greatest of years. He's trying to get himself going. I get it. Is that the right time to do it? Runner on first base. I don't know if he's worried about hitting a double play. I'm not sure.
Bouncer third. Gallo. High throw, but brought down by Napoli. It ends the inning, and Buxton left at second base. Part of the reason he's left at second base. Incredible defensive plays like this one from Carlos Gomez. That's how you get it done.
The place this weekend in downtown Minneapolis. It is now a beautiful, sunny and hot day here as we welcome you back. Game tied at 5. Well, Shin-Soo Choo and Joe Mauer go way back. In fact, they faced each other in the 2000 World Junior Baseball Championships when Choo was a pitcher for South Korea. Joe Mauer, of course, played for the U.S. And then he said that they found each other a few years later in the big leagues. Mauer sought him out and said, "Hey, Choo, do you remember going up against me?" And he said, "You know, at the time, I didn't speak very good English, so he spoke through my translator." But he said even then, Mauer was just a very humble guy. He said he's the same guy today. There are a lot of respect between those two.
Well, base hit for Choo gets us going here in the 5th inning. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And now they can talk about it once again over there at first base.
Choo could tell. No, I don't remember you. I'm sorry. What was your name?
You are.
That'd be a good game. That would be a lot of fun. He's like, it's right here in the back of my jersey. But it also makes me think and wondering, what's he still got left in the arm? There's only one lefty down in that Ranger bullpen.
Add some depth, maybe?
Could Choo be a specialist when needed? Bring him out from right field, Little League style?
Probably not.
There's only one way to find out. That's the way I look at it.
Well, Andrews had the double in the 2nd inning. 1 for 2, and Barrios with that breaking ball misses a little bit low, ball 1. Well, that was a big hit by Choo because that put an end to a stretch of 7 in a row retired by Barrios, who really did a nice job, especially coming out of that rain delay. We wondered because he had the longest wait, probably 45 plus minutes, but he came out of that delay great.
It looked really sharp.
And there's a good sign right there. Adrian Beltre, who took that foul ball off the head a little bit earlier.
That's some good news to see Adrian Beltre. It was scary. We weren't sure exactly what happened. Looked like the ball might have caught him, like you said, back of the head, but it appears that he will be taking his next at bat. Now, you were talking about Barrios and bouncing back, but even bouncing back from the 1st inning. Look at the pitches by inning for him. That's really important. I was thinking we might not see him past the 3rd inning, but he goes 15, 12, and 10 and gets very efficient and gets himself into the 5th inning. With still a somewhat manageable pitch count. He's probably got 20 or so left. He's gone over 100 a few times this year. Now it's a little bit, again, different circumstances after 41 in the 1st and a rain delay, but I'm going to believe Paul Molitor. I always believe, if you want to turn this guy into an ace, you got to treat him like an ace at times. And this might be one of those times where they let him push his pitch count.
A strike in there to Andrews. The count 2-1. Lead man on here in the 5th inning. Rios in that 40-pitch 1st inning gave up 5 runs. A couple of big homers. But since the home run to Gallo has allowed just 2 hits. 2-1. That one nibbles off a corner.
Those are a couple of really good back-to-back fastballs, and Elvis Andrus is frustrated by what he has seen. That one, though, looked like it might have caught the corner. 96 miles an hour. The last 2 have looked really good. So despite the fact that he's getting ready to throw pitch number 85, Barrios is still feeling really good.
Two with a little lead, not going anywhere, and it's now a full count. Andrews and Marty Foster having a little conversation. As a pitcher, were you ever jealous of hitters getting to have that access to an umpire? And I mean, they have what I think at times can be really constructive conversations back there.
Well, you wonder, are they influencing the umpire at all, right? As a paranoid pitcher, that's what you're thinking about.
Bouncer in the hole, it's short. Andrews with a base hit. Choo has to stop at 2nd base, but back-to-back singles begins the 5th inning.
Yeah, turning into a nice day here for Elvis Andrus. His 2nd hit of the day. Of course, he had that double back in the 2nd inning. They seemed a little frustrated. Nobody else got excited about but him. But here's a breaking ball on a full count, sitting right in the middle of the plate. That's the right approach. You think about if you're going to throw a breaking ball, you're going to run her first, nobody out. You're not looking to sweep one out of the zone. You're going to throw it in the zone, take your chances. And Elvis Andrus was all over. That double was also off a breaking ball, wasn't it, if I remember correctly, if memory serves?
Yeah, I think it was, yep.
So interesting because in the first at-bat, he struck Elvis Andrus out on the really good 2-seam fastball down and in. In that at-bat, we saw fastballs away, but never really saw the good sinker to try to finish him off. So he goes with a different approach over these last 2 at-bats, and Elvis takes advantage of it.
Well, Mazzara, who walked in the first inning, grounded out his last time up. A nice spot here with 2 men on, nobody out. Bouncer, right side. Dozier with a great play going to his left. He gets Mazzara, but the runners do advance. Second and third, 1 out. We'll bring up Adrian Beltre now with big RBI spot for the Rangers, and for more on his eventful day already, we check it again with Leslie.
Well, good news, obviously, is that he is up to bat. He did get examined in the back because he got hit in the back of the head, but everything turned out okay, guys. So, of course, he's back in the game.
It was a scary moment when we saw him kind of heading back to the clubhouse after that foul ball went in the dugout, but good news to see him back out here, that is for sure. It's always amazing we don't see more guys, right?
Oh, no doubt.
How many line drives go into the dugouts?
Infield all pulled in here. He takes a strike. This was Beltre after moments after that foul ball. It was just very good to see him going in on his own power. Obviously good enough at that time to take care of himself and then get the examination. Bouncer, shortstop, throw to the plate. Chu is out. Well, the ground ball hit right to the pulled in Polanco at short, and that's what Molitor and the Twins were hoping for or counting on, giving them a shot to get Chu, and they got him.
And I don't mind the aggressive base running here by Chu because you have Polanco back just a tiny bit. He's not all the way on the grass, and so they decide to go contact here. What is so important in those situations is you see the tag being applied by Jason Castro is that you get a good jump, as an aggressive as a lead you could possibly get. Not always an easy thing to do when you have the third baseman playing in, but you make your decision. You see the ball through, is what your third base coach will tell you, to make sure that the ball gets into the outfield before you advance, or you go on contact, maybe up the middle, hold on if it's at one of the corners because they're a little bit closer, and they decided, you know what, if it's anywhere but at the corners, Chu was going to take off, and he did. He put a little pressure on the defense, but Polanco responded with a good throw.
So now here is Odor. Rookie 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts today.
And a lot of those decisions are based on how many outs, where you are in the order, who's coming next. Is that the right time to go ahead and take an aggressive chance? And, you know, worst case scenario, you end up with this, which is the same first and third situation.
Breaking ball, and this one hit high in the air out toward right field, and that's a playable ball for Kepler. And the inning is done. Rangers set up shop but could not get anybody home. We're halfway to the house this afternoon, 5-5. by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Five, bottom of the fifth. And the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up for the Twins. Austin Bibbins-Dirks has come on for Nick Martinez.
And you get a look at the arsenal for Austin, what he has done this year, how he has used his pitches. Not overpowering, but very effective with that fastball. Changes his arm angles on multiple pitches, gets really good movement. That fastball mix there at 42% will include both the 4 and the 2-seam fastball. He pitched a couple of days ago through 2 shutout innings against the Minnesota Twins in Game 2. Allowed a couple of hits, had a strikeout as well.
We get Joe Mauer start things off here in the 5th inning. Pumps in a strike. Well, bullpen's been nice. Of course, didn't need the bullpen yesterday. So the last 4 games is the way you look at it. 3 appearances, an ERA under 1.
And the bullpen right now has gotten some much needed rest. Of course, the complete game yesterday from Cole Hamels, and then yesterday, or the day before that, just Tony Barnett and Austin Bibbins-Dirks threw in that game, 3 1/3 combined between the 2 of those guys. So for everybody else, at least 2 days off, which is always a nice thing. Now, those guys probably a little anxious to want to get in there today because there's an off day tomorrow for the Rangers. So a guy like, say, Jose Leclerc, who hasn't pitched in 3 days, if he doesn't pitch today, you're looking at 5 days off, and that's where you start to get a little bouncy out there in the bullpen. 5 days, more often than not, too many.
2-1 to Mauer. Well, Austin certainly has been one of the big stories this year for the Rangers. It's one of those feel-good stories. Whether it be the starts, the relief appearances, and of course the background that got him here in the first place. 3-1 to Mauer. Just a well-traveled minor league career. Winter ball trips to Venezuela. And one of those guys unwilling to let them take the uniform away from him. And it finally paid off as a 32-year-old at spring training, coming over as a just-in-case pitcher for so many games and really impressing the staff, and now getting a shot in the big leagues this year. And he misses off the plate. That is ball 4. So Mauer draws the walk. That's how we start the bottom of the 5th inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to the studios once again with Rick Renner. And there you go. So that's 2 in a row for the Yankees. Coming off a 4-game losing streak. They're trying to keep the pressure on the Boston Red Sox out in the East. So with the walk to Mauer, Eduardo Escobar now. Take a look at the standings in the East. 59 and 51 for the Yankees. And as you pointed out earlier in our rain delay, it's a team that really made a number of moves to get better for the stretch run. We've got a pretty nice looking bullpen now. As this one bounced to first. Napoli will go to second for 1 out and no relay to first. Bibbins-Dirks a little late getting over to the bag. Napoli wasn't going to get back there himself, so they'll take the out of Mauer. 1 away.
Yeah, this is, I would say, almost a near impossible double play to turn here. You'll see the ground ball, and Austin, he did fine getting over there and went straight line, but just Mike Napoli realizing he wasn't going to get back in time. Whenever you have that left-handed hitter coming out of the box and a good runner like Escobar, trying to turn that double play is probably asking too much, and so the Rangers will just take the 1.
So now Rosario. Yeah, the home run in the 3rd inning to tie this game. 5-5 our score. Good one right in there for a strike. Rosario has been the most consistent force in the Twins lineup against the Rangers the last couple of years. Hit safely in 16 of 17, now 17 of 18 games against the Rangers. Most recently hitting close to 500 against them over now a 9-game stretch. And he's in a hole 0-2. Rosario today batting cleanup. Twins, we mentioned earlier, without Miguel Sano, though he is not on the disabled list, ostensibly could be used later on in the game if needed. 1-2 the count.
Austin's got some pretty even splits. Goes with the changeup there, just missed off the plate, but it's done a good job. 244 against lefties, 262 against those righties, and that's why they're comfortable using him either as a starter or a long man. You're not necessarily trying to play matchups with Austin Bibbins Dirks.
I'd love a ground ball here and a chance to maybe turn 2. 1-2 pitch. Just off the plate.
I'll tell you what, he is not getting that call. That is the third fastball. He threw a couple of those to Joe Mauer as well. That seemed like they were really right on the edge. You see him shaking his head there and say, man, I'm throwing that pitch exactly where I want to throw it. I'm trying to figure out why he's not getting that call, and he's got a good case.
Well, he readies again. This time they want it inside. But they'll throw over to first. Check it on Escobar. Eddie Rosario, by the way, this is the first time this year that Rosario has batted in the cleanup spot. In fact, first time he's batted anywhere above 5th in the order. Going back again to a little bit of the shakeup the Twins are having to make with their lineup this weekend. There's Sano. 2-2. Runner goes, and a swinging strikeout, though down to second, not in time. So Escobar with a steal of second, but Rosario strikes out. There are 2 away.
Well, Austin gets Rosario to expand the plate right here, and he wasn't getting the calls on the corner, and he goes with a changeup in the 2-strike count. And you're going to see Rosario going out of the zone. There's the throw from Robinson Chirinos, and Elvis, a little bit of a sales pitch there, but one that was not bought into. Not bought into by Escobar. You got to try, right? Might as well.
Absolutely. So with 2 away, it'll bring up Robbie Grossman. Bottom of the 5th inning, we were delayed by rain. And the last of the 2nd inning, a 32-minute delay earlier today. In there for a strike on Grossman, who is 1 for 2. Play him straight up on the infield. Grossman takes this one and hits it well out to right field. Chu going back, and he'll have to play it off the wall. His throw back towards second base in time, and they throw out Grossman. The run does count. They'll say that Escobar touched home plate before the out at second, but Jeff Bannister is saying, hang on a second, we may want to take a look at this and double check.
What a great play by Chu. He played this wall absolutely perfectly and delivers a bullet to second base to Elvis Andrus, as you see the tag applied there, and Grossman getting tagged out. Now it becomes about whether or not the runner scored. Here's our first look that we have, and hard to tell right there. We will see. And I tell you what, this is kind of close at second base too. So it's one thing where if Jeff Bannister wants to challenge, and then the other side of this is whether or not Paul Molitor wants to challenge the play at second base. Grossman is still standing out at second base. He's not going anywhere. He's looking into the Twin dugout saying, hey, you're going to look at this, right? Just a little bit looking at it. I mean, everybody is just
great
trying to sell their products out here this inning. Where's Elvis on the bag, and Grossman saying, hey, did you know I was safe? And Jeff Bannister's giving his sales pitch to the umpiring crew and saying, hey, I'm not sure he scored there. What do you guys have? And we have a challenge.
Yes.
The question is, what challenge do we have?
Exactly. We're going to sync up 2 looks at this play. So these cameras are exactly synced up. Is the out at second? Does it happen before the run scores? The run scores.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in at home. I'll give him that one. I think he's probably there. We're not exactly sure. It's hard to tell whether or not there's contact. We talk about things being clear and concise. I'll say that he is barely safe at home. Now let's see here. I'm a little worried about this left foot getting in before the tag. That's really close right there. That's super slow-mo. That camera works unbelievable. Let's see here. It's hard to tell whether or not you can see the actual tag touching the leg. This might be the one. Yeah, I think he's out there. You know, both of those are so close for me. I know we say this a lot and people get frustrated, but the reality is I'm looking at both of those plays and I'm saying I don't see enough evidence on either one of those to say, yeah, you need to flip that around.
I think the real solution to these things really is a duo.
That's fair.
I mean, that's how we used to take care of it.
So look at Grossman. He's like, hey, you guys, I just saw him on the big screen. Coach Molitor, did you see it?
There we go. Run scores.
That's what the Rangers were challenging. It was a Rangers challenge, and they were challenging whether or not the run scored in time.
And no challenge on the play at second base. So
Grossman's still mad about it.
Yeah, well, listen. Although maybe now Molitor challenges that. No. The inning is over. The run scores, and we go to the 6th inning. Twins with their first lead of the day. Inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Our jackpot is $400 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In, and the Rangers are hitting for Kathleen Toone from Carrollton. So if the Ranger hits a home run this inning, Kathleen will win $400 if they hit a grand slam. Kathleen wins $25,000. So good luck, Kathleen. Here we go. 6th inning. Napoli, Gallo, Gomez are due, and Adrianza takes over at second base for Dozier, and Trevor Hildenberger has come on the pitch.
Boy, Dozier came out of that game. We didn't see anything, did we?
I didn't.
Curious here. So 13th game for Hildenberger. Check out the 26-year-old right-hander. What he has done so far this year. Pretty good splits. 231 against lefties, 250 against those righties. The 4-seam fastball is sitting around 93 miles an hour. The sinker, the 2-seam fastball, 88. Also has a slider and a changeup. Both of those averaging 76 miles per hour.
Oh, big swing and a miss.
You can tell right away, though, it is not about the velocity, but all about the angle. Kind of surprising you don't see more dominant numbers against right-handed hitters. I mentioned at 250, he's actually been a little bit better against those lefties, but with that kind of angle, my goodness.
We got Napoli on the knee, so a hit batter is how we get started.
Well, second time Mike Napoli has been hit. Second time he's been hit by an off-speed pitch, and I don't know if you would call that getting out of the way or maybe getting in the way a little bit for Mike Napoli, but nevertheless, he will take his base. I think that stung a little bit, even though it's a slow breaking ball. The reaction from Mike Napoli tells you that maybe that hurt a little bit.
Well, now, first pitch strike in there to Joey Gallo. Gallo with a big home run. 1 for 2 so far today. It's the first time today that the Twins have led. It was a 5-0 game, but Minnesota has scored 6 unanswered now at this point. High fly ball out to left field. And Rosario with the shades on hauls it in. Hey, Rangers fans, download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app presented by AT&T and Hyundai. So now here is Carlos Gomez. 0 for 2. Trevor Hildenberger, first pitcher out of the bullpen today for the Twins. And this one is hit sharply at second base. Adrianza catches that liner just off the top of the dirt. And Gomez is out. Great job by Napoli to get back to first base.
Yeah, you get caught in between because if that ball bounces, it's going to be an easy double play, assuming that Adrianza fields it cleanly. This one sounded like it was caught off the end of the bat a little bit, but you see it right there. Sometimes, you know, your reaction is just catch the baseball. But if you have that extra half a second, half a beat to tell yourself, you know what, let this ball catch it on the short hop, let it bounce, that would have been a real easy double play.
Don Napoli finds safety over at first, and it brings up Robinson Chirinos. I'm going to check in on Napoli. Hildenberger's an interesting story. I met him yesterday down in their clubhouse. He's a Cal guy. He went to Berkeley.
You too.
So you have to say hello. But he didn't get drafted after his senior year of college. Swing and a miss. After his junior year, his third year at Cal, his pitching coach Mike knew he was throwing his last bullpen of the year. He and this guy. Last name Jones. I'm forgetting the kid's name. Another pitcher on the team. Well, this kid forgot his uniform, so he scrambled around. And he got like number 37 off the scrap heap. Went out there to throw the bullpen, and Mike knew their pitching coach said, 37. So that's a terrible number for a pitcher. He said, "Well, what does it remind you?" He said, "It's like a corner outfielder or something." Anyway, throw your bullpen. So Hildenberger is wearing number 26. He says, "Well, what does that remind you of?" And New said, "It reminds me of a side armor." And he said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, there was a side armor number 26 at UCLA, maybe like it, but Washington State, something like that." And so they're talking about it while this other kid's throwing his bullpen. And now it's Hildenberger's turn. And Mike New, his pitching coach, says to him, "You're a side armor now. Let's see it." So he threw the bullpen sidearm. And he said, "Yeah, work on it this summer." So he comes back. And the next year, his fourth year at Cal, mediocre at best. He'd been mediocre up to that point. Said velocity was down. It was hard to get breaking pitch or something off speed. And he graduated. Film student, was going to go try and find a job or something in LA. Baseball wasn't happening. New gets a head coaching job. Calls him, says, "Hey, we had this freshman. Didn't sign with us. He ended up going to the draft. You want to come back for a 5th year?" So Hildenberger said, "Okay."
Oh, he still had eligibility left?
Yeah, 1 year of eligibility left. So
Okay.
he said, "Well, we got a scholarship for you if you want to come back and throw 1 more year." was lights out. Got drafted in the 22nd round by the Twins. He's a sidearmer now. He said with 2 strikes though. Now we'll watch this. With 2 strikes, he said, I will occasionally bring it back up over the top just to kind of slow a guy down. We'll see if he tries it here.
That is a crazy story.
Isn't it?
The craziest part, that 37 is not a pitcher's number. Of course it is. 37 is absolutely a pitcher's number. It is not a corner outfielder's number. That is incorrect.
Not according to Mike New.
That is incorrect.
Well, 3-2. He goes sidearm again and a bouncer up the middle. But Adrianza positioned well and throws out Chirinos, and it completes a scoreless inning for Trevor Hildenberger, now a sidearm pitcher. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Unlimited Baseball Break brought to you by T-Mobile. Interesting stuff here. Dodgers, we keep talking about this, but 43-7 in their last 50 games. Best 50-game stretch since the Giants of 1912. This was the news to me. Yonder Alonso traded to Seattle today, and the guy they got in return was a one-time prospect with Oakland who had turned to Seattle. Boog Powell, they got him back, but Yonder Alonso, that's an interesting get for Seattle. And then Salvi Perez on the 10-day disabled list with an intercostal strain for Kansas City, and that could have huge ramifications on the wild card race.
Yeah, interesting for Alonso. He said, he's played for the Reds, Padres, A's. He said, yeah, it's the first time I get to play meaningful baseball. He's been playing for a while.
Slow roller to second base. And Matt Bush, it's a ground out by Kepler for out number 1 here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, this is probably about what we were just talking about. The bullpen is pretty well rested. Matt Bush hadn't pitched in a couple days. He pitched in the first game of the series. There's an off day tomorrow. Even though he did throw 3 out of 4, obviously you're still in this game as well. We usually see Matt Bush in games that the Rangers are winning. But if they don't take the lead, there's only 3 innings left available for the Rangers to pitch if they don't ever tie this game up and get to a bottom of the 9th. And so Jeff Bannister probably wanted to make sure that Matt Bush stays sharp, not give him 4 days off if he was not pitched today.
We'll strike in there to Byron Buxton. Buxton, who I want to say laid down a bunt in the 4th inning. More like crushed a bunt.
Squared a bunt up. What we said, we got it up 48 miles an hour?
Yep, 48 miles an hour according to
somebody,
yeah, however they measure those things now. It was good. We were able to get that measurement, but we were unable to get a measurement on Gallo's home run earlier today.
I'm telling you, they got thrown off because you couldn't see where it landed. Couldn't see, and it caught the back half of the stairs somewhere. Boy, that seems like that was a long time ago. That rain delay.
Yeah, he broke the system. There's a swinging miss and a strikeout of Buxton. So Bush gets his first punch out of the day. 2 away.
Matt Bush, we know about the good live arm that he has. Look where Robinson Chirinos is set up. That's how high he wanted the baseball. It ended up being even a little bit lower than that. But I think what he's doing there is over-exaggerating the target, because we've had this conversation a lot about Matt Bush elevating the fastball with 2 strikes. He's so good and has worked so hard to create downward angle. He's not a big guy, right? And so when you're a shorter pitcher, sometimes you do have to work a little bit harder to try to create angle. And he's done a very nice job of doing that. And he wants to do it early in the count. He wants his fastballs down early. But he said when he's trying to elevate late, it's actually a little bit more of a challenge. And you think, well, what's so hard about throwing the ball up out of the zone? It's harder than it seems, and then maybe that it sounds for certain guys. So Robinson, way up there, get way high, even though he knows Matt Bush is probably not going to get it all the way there, and it was still as effective.
Down low with that one. It's 1-1. Castro 0 for 2. Struck out in the second inning. And then the fly out in the 4th. One of the exciting moments in today's game. We've seen a lot of really good defense in this series by both teams. This one off the plate, and it's 2-1. This was the fly ball out in the 4th.
This ball was well hit to dead center field, and at the time it was a very big play with Buxton on first base. I mentioned it at the time. He was standing on second, and Carlos Gomez did just such an excellent job of timing everything right there, finding the wall, the leap. It was a great play. Really good defense in this entire series.
Man. Been fun to watch. 3-1 the count. It's really been a very entertaining series, and right now the Twins leading 6-5. They're trying to split the series. Rangers have taken 2 of the first 3, but a rare 4-gamer. 3-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Bush, the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for the Rangers. Austin Bibbins-Dirks doing the 5th inning, allowed a run on just the 1 hit. (3-2). A swing and a miss, strike 3, and it's a perfect bottom of the 6th for Matt Bush. We'll go to the 7th inning this afternoon in the Twin Cities. Back to take a lead 6-5 as we go to the 7th inning, and we take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. We're leaving today, tomorrow an off day, and then just 2 games in New York against the Mets Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon, and then it's another off day on Thursday before returning home for a big weekend series against the Astros. A lot of orange in the Rangers' future.
You and I were thinking alike. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Orange on that schedule, but yeah, quick. It's at 2-2 this year with the Mets, right? They came into Arlington for 2, and now the Rangers will head there for 2 as well. and maybe hopefully kind of getting the Astros on the downside a little bit. It's a great team having a great season, but a couple of guys upset about what didn't happen at the trading deadline, and they haven't been playing that great as of late.
Well, Hildenberger stays in for a second inning. They'll have the top of the order here. He hit Napoli last inning, but then got 3 consecutive outs. This one almost hit Chu. 2-0.
Well, here's what's interesting about Hildenberger in the delivery. You're talking about the story becomes a sidearm. Look at him. He's all the way on the first base side of that pitching rubber, but then he throws across his body. He's doing that because he's trying to, create some tough angles for righties. But, everybody's different. But if I'm him, I want to be the third base side of the rubber, because then it's even harder. If you're going to be on the third base side and throw across your body and also throw from that lower arm angle, I mean, think about what that looks like to a right-handed hitter and how tough that would be to pick up. Now, it's easier said than done. You go over there, you may just feel really uncomfortable, right? And that could easily be, part of the reason why he's on that side. If he was predominantly fastball changeup, then you would also stay on that first base side of the rubber. But thinking for him, the changeup, that's a good one right there below the zone, and you see Chu go chasing it. But his play is going to be to get out righties. All right, let's watch it here. Changeup. Maybe on the corner as it came out of his hand, but it just kept tailing further and further away, and Chu was unable to lay off. I've always wondered about that. Brad Ziegler is a really good example of a sidearm righty who stays on the first base side, but he is fastball, tons of fastballs and changeups. If you want your breaking ball to be really effective against righties as a sidearm pitcher, you got to be on that, for me, at least in the middle, but probably on the third base side of the pitching rubber.
Well, now here's that example, right? Righty on righty, Elvis Andrus. And he finds the inside corner for a strike. I don't know if there's any advantage to this. What about the notion that if, as a hitter, you feel like he's coming, at you, right? It's a lazy fly ball out to left. Rosario finding the sun, and the sun won. And Andrus pedaling to second. He is in there. That looked tough and proved to be for Rosario.
What a huge break this could turn out to be for the Rangers as they trail by 1. But the sun an issue right now in a glare that wasn't there earlier. And we had a rain delay earlier today, but the sun now out and high and causing problems here in left field. And Rosario had the glasses on, but that wasn't enough. You see him just missing that ball, goes off his glove, and instead of finding the ball, he actually looked back up in the sun as if to say, what was going on up there? I'd say go get the baseball first, and we'll talk about the sun later. But good job by Elvis Andrus to make sure that he gets to second base. And that one, and I'm happy for Elvis because he's a Ranger, but that one goes down as a double. And there's that little picture of me going, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's a double?
It's because you're a pitcher.
3 hits now for Elvis Andrus. So second double. He had, what, 3 the other night? We're talking. That's right there. That's 5 doubles alone in 2 games for Elvis this series.
Yeah. 31 doubles for the season. Impressive. 1 out, man in scoring position. That's a big man out there in scoring position. He could tie the game. Zara 0 for 2 with the walk. And I think going back to something you said too, and wrapping up that play, really good job of not assuming it was going to be caught, right? And making sure you get to second base, because a lot of guys could think, oh, well, I'm out, and maybe you settle for the single. But he was pushing hard and made sure that he got 2 bases out of it. So Mazzara with that foul ball, now 2-1 the count. Big spot right here for Mazzara and the Rangers. Adrian Beltre waiting on deck.
9 hits for him this series. 4 singles, 5 doubles for Elvis Andrus.
(2-1), and that is ball 3. Mazara's first at bat was a walk, and then he scored on the Beltre home run. Rangers with 5 runs on 7 hits so far today. Swing and a miss. It's a full count.
Now going back to Hildenberger, we're talking about where he stands and everything else on the pitching rubber. Take a look at this last pitch to Nomar Mazara. Another changeup, good movement on it. But he does only throw his slider about 12 or 13% of the time. Everything else is a fastball and a changeup. So there's some justification for being on that first side of the pitching rubber. But because we don't see the really good numbers against righties, I wonder if that's something that he would address.
3-2 pitch, and that one up the middle right through Hildenberger, but Polanco is there, throws out Mazara. Andrus goes to third base, but there are 2 out in the inning.
Well, if you're going to miss it, you might as well completely miss it, as opposed to tipping this ball and making it worse. And Hildenberger now, of course, he's got some work to do because he has a big run on third base, but watch this thing go right through his legs and just didn't even come close to touching it, and that's a good thing. Either field it cleanly or don't touch it at all.
Almost looked like a trick play. So a man at third, 2 out. And here's Adrian Beltre. Right in there, strike 1 from Hildenberger. Beltre has homered today. Took a foul ball off the back of the head in the dugout, but has stayed in there. 1 for 3. And he watches ball 1. Hildenberger, also look at him, you know, it's got quite the baby face. He's 26 years old, but he looks a lot younger than that, especially in person. And you know where this is going, right? When he got called up, this one soft liner out back of second, but caught by Adrianza, and it ends the inning. Ooh, Beltre robbed of what looked like an RBI single. Bottom of the 7th coming. First, God Bless America. We'll let you listen in this afternoon as Taylor Peterson will entertain the crowd.
Fans, please rise and welcome 2017 Twins audition winner Taylor Peterson as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Bottom of the 7th inning coming on it's turned into a sunny afternoon here with the Twin Cities. And hey, tickets for groups of 20 or more start at only $12 and offer great savings off gate prices. Group pricing also available in 9 different seating areas, plus the all-inclusive Cholula all-you-can-eat seats. Learn more about group savings offered for every Rangers home game at texasrangers.com/groups. All right, bottom of the 7th inning, and Alex Claudio coming in a little bit earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, you never know what the role is always going to be here for Alex Claudio. He's been used as a closer, but we know this. He's been an important part of the bullpen. You see the arsenal there for him, that sinker, two-seam fastball that he uses that averages 87, the changeup. Really important pitch for Alex. And as a side armor and lefty, we see him on the first base side of the room.
And he gets a strike right in there to the 9th place hitter, Jorge Polanco. Polanco is switch hitter, so he has to switch over to the right side now. Oh, that's strike 2. All right, now this is the thing you're always talking about right here. The pitches per innings pitched, unbelievable.
He's been on some kind of run as of late. So efficient, throws a ton of strikes, induces a lot of weak contact, very few deep counts for Alex Claudio. And that's why he has earned so much trust from Jeff Bannister.
1-2 the count on Polanco. Then that constitutes a really tough at bat right here by Polanco. You see 3 pitches in at bat against Alex Claudio, or 4 as the case is going to be here. You've done something.
Did we ever get word on anything for Brian Dozier?
No.
Never heard anything, right, as far as why he came out of the game?
Ground ball up the middle. That is a base hit. So Polanco turns one right back up the box, and it is the lead man on here in the bottom of the 7th inning. All right, we need time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to Rick Renner again in the studios. All right, thanks, Rick.
2 potential teams that you might see going head-to-head in the postseason: the Washington Nationals and Chicago Cubs.
Now Adrianza, and he was trying to bunt, but fouls that one off for strike 1.
So we heard that, we did get word on Brian Dozier that he was feeling ill after the game, or not after the game, why he came out of the game.
Although, fair to say, he probably will still feel ill after the game, too. I think
both of those, all the above.
Adrianza, his first at bat of the day. And he shows bunt again, watches it in. 1-1. Dozier finished the day 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer.
Adrianza is one of 4 switch hitters that they have here on this roster. It's pretty unheard of. Rare that we even see 1 these days, or 2. Forget about 4.
.27 years old from Venezuela. Started 20 games this year at shortstop for the Twins. Also had starts at first, third, and second base as well. So they use him all over the place. Again, trying to bunt and fouls this one off for strike 2.
Alex Claudio's an uncomfortable at bat. We know that. Trying to bunt that changeup right there at that velocity is certainly not an easy thing to do. You're waiting on it. You see him kind of getting ahead and hitting the top half, because there's also great movement, as always, with Alex Claudio. He doesn't really throw anything straight. So you say, well, it's not high velocity. How hard could it be? Well, the ball's moving. You don't know if it's going to be that 87-mile-an-hour fastball or a changeup that's 15 miles an hour slower.
One, two. And he's bunting with 2 strikes. Chirinos out in front of the plate, goes to second, and they get the force out there. Nicely done. Boy, Robinson Chirinos has done a terrific job on that same play now a couple times in the last week.
This is an incredible throw because not only was it accurate, but it was off balance because Robinson Chirinos knew he did not have a lot of time, but he made the decision to get aggressive and essentially throws that ball on the run. What a play. Watch him right here. This is going to be a great view of it. You see him there. No time to set your feet. In that situation, Elvis Andrus just kind of turns into a first baseman where he's just trying to hold the bag, and he does.
Nicely done, Robinson Chirinos. So a 2-6 put out, or fielder's choice, that allows Adrianza to get on base, replacing Polanco. Here is Mauer, and he takes it away for ball 1. More walks today for Mauer, gives him 48 for the year. Padding that already high on base percentage. Claudio a little low. Claudio and Mauer had only faced one another a couple of times prior to this series beginning. Claudio had retired him both times. We were out here, was it yesterday or maybe Friday, when Mauer was out doing some early work by himself. Looked like they had a tee set up at home plate. And based on the little we could see and we had heard around here, they're working on trying to pull the ball a little bit. It seems to hit a lot the other way. Lifts this one high in the air, but it's not going to carry well enough for him to left field. Gomez able to get over there from center field and make the catch. 2 away.
Yeah, it was yesterday. He didn't play yesterday, and so he was out there early getting some work in, and you're absolutely right, because he sprays the field so well, you think, well, you forget how to pull the ball. No, it's just been part of his game because he's always trying to cover the entire plate. If you're doing that more often than not, you're really conscious away, and so you'll line the ball away, very similar like we just saw in that at bat right there. And so they were soft tossing, they were hitting off the tee, and he was just trying to pull, which is, you know, it's kind of a funny exercise in the sense that it's usually the opposite. You're trying to get hitters not to get into pull mode too much, but the power has been down for Joe Mauer over the years. We mentioned that career high when he hit those 28 home runs back in 2009, but haven't seen anything close to that since.
Bouncer, third base. Gallo with the long throw in time, and he gets Escobar at first base. And another moment where we get to gaze upon that really strong arm of Joey Gallo.
He showed it off. Paul Molitor says, hold on here. We want to make sure we get a look at the replays before we decide whether or not we want to challenge this. But yes, Joey Gallo, we saw it in left field, and now here we see it at third base, and it's not even as close as we may have thought. Escobar is clearly out.
And it's a scoreless bottom of the 7th. The 8th inning is next. Rangers down by 1. Northwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more.
Rangers still down a run as we welcome you back to Target Field and we get ready to play the 8th inning. Well, Tyson Ross was put on the 10-day disabled list with a blister on his throwing hand. Yesterday, he had a rehab start in Frisco, and it went really well. He went 7 innings, allowing just 4 hits, 1 run through about 95 pitches. And health-wise, Jeff Bannister said he seemed to be in good shape. He took advantage of some aggressive young hitters. Now, there's no timetable right now on his return, guys. He still has to finish his rehab assignments.
All right, thanks, Leslie.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. I'm sure they would love to get Tyson Ross back into this rotation as soon as possible. Of course, Yu Darvish being traded and some reinforcements would be nice. As we'll see Taylor Rogers coming on now, his 49th appearance of the season for the left-hander. Rogers' fastball sits around 93. He's got a curveball and a changeup as well.
Well, a 1-run game. And Rogers on here. He has been a guy they have leaned on a little bit in the late innings lately. His first pitch, Odor bangs it on the ground by first base, and Mauer goes to the bag for the first out of the inning. Well, you know, the Rangers are celebrating Faith and Family on Sunday, August 20th. Come early for a pregame testimonial from David Murphy, and then stay for the postgame concert from Christian recording artist David Crowder, presented by Buckner International. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com/concerts. One away, and here is Mike Napoli. First pitch from Rogers, and Napoli shoots this one down the right side, foul and out of play. Well, we've reached that portion of the ball game where when you look at the Twins, maybe their lineup, their rotation, whatever the case, you wonder, why are they 4 games under 500? What happened? They were playing so well earlier. The answer oftentimes emerges this time of game. The 8th and 9th innings have been a real struggle for them. 0-2 now on Napoli. Look at the run differential in the 8th and 9th innings this year for Minnesota. Is that possible to get outscored by 57 runs in the last 2 innings?
Apparently so, and home runs have been an issue as well for that club and for the bullpen. But yes, they have had a rough time of it here in the late innings.
Pop up by Napoli near home plate. Castro wanted it, but gives way to his third baseman. Escobar really does a nice job coming down the line, and the sun is an issue at this point of the day as well.
We know who didn't want to catch that, and that was Taylor Rogers, as he was kind of looking and saying, hey, you're going to get that, right? Like looking at his catcher first and Castro, and then, as you mentioned, Escobar did a really good job of coming over and taking control of the situation. A much easier catch for either of the corner infielders when you think about the angles that they're coming in. Now, you know, quite honestly, you'd like to see Joe Mauer in there a little bit more. Where's the sun been an issue? Right now, left field, that side of the field, right? So you're still dealing with the sun even as the third baseman. The first baseman is not, based on the angle that he is coming in from, and he really probably should be taking control of that fly ball in that spot.
Well, Rogers goes after Joey Gallo now with 2 out. Gallo can tie this game with 1 big swing. Rogers, no doubt, well aware of that. Hit his 30th home run of the year earlier in this game. 1-1 the count.
See that breaking ball, the lefty on lefty breaking ball from Rogers. Good numbers, 206 against left-handers with that pitch, but he has allowed 3 home runs on it. It's the only pitch that left-handed hitters have taken out of the ballpark against Rogers.
This ball hit hard, but right to shortstop. So that will end the inning. Polanco tucks it away, and now to the last of the 8th. Twins up by 1. at our four-game summary. 5 runs in the top of the first. Rangers were off to a great start. That rain delay in the second inning, though, everything changed. Since then, the Twins have gone on a run. 5 total home runs in this thing. It's a 6-5 Twins lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning.
And Alex Claudio back out for his second inning of work. He threw just 12 pitches. Stop me if you've heard that one before. Alex Claudio to get through his 3 outs in the 7th, and he'll try to do the same here in the 8th.
Well, good crowd tonight, or this afternoon rather, at Target Field, our 4th game in this series. You start thinking ahead to 2020 when the Rangers will open up their new ballpark, and you come to some of these new structures around the league. This one really is beautiful. They did a nice job here. Is swinging a fly ball down the left field line, but slices foul on Rosario for strike 1.
No, you're right. They did. This is a really great ballpark. That the All-Star game here a couple of years ago back in 2014. I love what they have right there in left field. Those different decks out there. The one all the way at the top, but even the ones that are below it as well. Great place to catch a ball game. Get yourself a couple of foul balls there as well. Kind of like what they did. It's been a while now. San Diego, right? The Western Metal Supply Building, I believe it's called, right?
Yep.
Nice job there in left field. All the different kind of unique places to be able to watch a game at these new ballparks. And as the Rangers get ready to build their new ballpark here in a couple of years, and certainly have already broken ground. As you come through, I asked John Blake about it. You find yourself kind of taking some notes here and there, what you like, don't like at the new ballparks, and they said absolutely. They've done that for a while here now, but now that they know they're going forward, once that vote passed last November, paying even closer attention to what they like, unique things at different ballparks.
0-2 to Rosario, and he hooks this one on the ground. Second base. Odor hustles it over to first, and that is out number 1.
Well, here's a nostalgic giveaway item that will make you feel like a kid in a toy shop. The first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Saturday, August 19th will be treated to an Adrian Beltre starting lineup figurine. It'll be courtesy of McDonald's. The Rangers take on the Chicago White Sox at 7:05. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS.
One out here in the 8th. Grossman takes a strike. Robbie Grossman, 2 for 3. RBI single in the 5th inning, and that broke the tie. He was eventually thrown out at second base, trying to stretch that single into a double, and we reviewed the play. He wanted to review because he thought he was safe at second with a double. Rangers actually reviewed it because they weren't so sure that he wasn't out prior to Eduardo Escobar touching home plate for the run. So it was really an interesting play that right now is the difference in this game, and it's now 2-1.
Yeah, could you imagine that Escobar pulled up too early? You know, which does happen sometimes. You see kind of an automatic base hit there, and you're thinking, okay, well, yeah, I got this easy, and you just kind of coast in. But then the guy that hit the ball gets thrown out at second, and he did not cross the plate in time. I mean, that's the difference in this game right now. Otherwise, we'd be looking at a tie game, 5-5.
Claudio evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And there's no doubt that Grossman, by the way, still believes that he was safe. Believes that he got in there. I'll probably tell Paul Mahler that after this game.
Going to the office. Molly, I need to talk to you. Yeah. Shut the door. What's going on with that review? Or lack thereof?
I really, really wanted that double.
Well, 2-2 here to Grossman. And he hits this one high in the air. Gomez are 2 away. MLB.TV. Every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Go to MLB.tv for details. Well, 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Max Kepler taps it foul. In the 9th, Rangers have Carlos Gomez, Robinson Chirinos, and Shin-Soo Choo coming up. Of course, on the bench, they've got Rua, DeShields, Brett Nicholas, and Drew Robinson. There's a corner call. The count 0-2 on Kepler.
You mentioned the struggles of Max Kepler earlier against lefties. Really has been an issue for him. Just a 129 batting average against, and you're talking about a lefty in Alex Claudio, who is really tough on left-handed batters. His batting average against also 129. The battle of the 129s is won by Alex Claudio, who, by the way, just threw 12 pitches, and he threw 12 pitches last inning. It's incredible.
It's easy money, man. We go to the 9th inning. Rangers looking for at least one. We get ready to go here in the 9th inning. Rangers down by a run. And Matt Belisle coming into pitch.
See the numbers there for Belisle. This will be his 45th game. Now things changing here a little bit, of course, in the Twins bullpen. They move on from Kinsler and don't necessarily have their guy that will be closing or had been closing games out for them. It's a little mix and match here a little bit. 35 strikeouts for him. 19 walks as well. Belisle does not throw particularly hard. 91-mile-an-hour fastball. He does have the slider, curveball, and changeup.
Oh, yeah, Gomez swinging aggressively at the first pitch he saw.
So he hasn't had a save since 2012.
High fly here to center field, and Buxton tracks it down, 1 away. All right, well, tomorrow an off day as we travel later this afternoon, and then on Tuesday our AT&T matchup, Joey Gallo and Jay Bruce, couple of young sluggers, both 3rd place in their respective leagues with 30 and 29 home runs. Our coverage will begin at 5:30. The pregame show here on Fox Sports Southwest. Hope you'll join us for that. Drew Robinson pinch hitting for Chirinos. Breaking ball up and in for ball one.
Belial's 37 years old. That went by fast, didn't it?
That a lot of numbers you're throwing out on him are surprising to me.
He's got 5 career saves. The first one came in 2005. The next one 5 years later, in 2010. And then he had 3 in 2012 when he was a member of the Colorado Rockies.
Off the plate, 2-1. The count to Drew Robinson. So Drew coming off the bench, and you know, here's a guy with a little bit of power in that bat. Robinson 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter this season. 3 homers and 28 at bats this year, and fouls this one off. Count is 2-1. Drew gets a little pine tar. Heads back in. Rangers need. You want to say they need a base runner? They don't really even need a base runner. They just need some good contact at some point in this 9th inning. Amazing. Scored 5 runs in the first inning, but it's been quiet since. Curveball, and that ball is hammered down the right field line, but foul. Drew just a little out in front.
You know, off the bat, it sounded and looked good, and unfortunately, Drew Robinson gave it away that ball was most likely going to hook. Foul. As he came out of the box at first, look at this breaking ball just sitting there, but he knew it. Just a little bit out front. And that ball was hooking, and continued to hook foul.
So the 2-2. Ooh, very close, full count. Well, if he can get on, Shin-Soo Choo is next. And Drew Robinson, good athlete. He can run a little bit. Well, Tapper. This one up the middle. Over from shortstop, though. Polanco takes care of Robinson. 2 away.
This is a nice play and a slow roller. And you see Polanco and the Twins continuing with their excellent defense and what we have seen throughout this series.
Last chance. Shin-Soo Choo. He started the game with a base hit. Has 2 of them today. And he takes one inside.
So interesting, we saw Drew Robinson come up and pinch hit. Of course, now you have Shin-Soo Choo, and your first thought is, yeah, get some righties in there against the righty Belial. 170 batting average against lefties this year for him. So he's actually handled left-handed hitters very well, much better than he has righties so far this year. And I wonder if it's the slow stuff, right? Doesn't throw very hard, a lot of off-speed stuff. Interesting splits, though, from the right-hander.
Basically 100 points better against lefties. Odd though that may seem, the 1-1 pitch. There's a foul ball, and now the Rangers are down to their final strike. Well, a strange afternoon. Half an inning into this thing, and you wondered if this might just be an easy cruise victory for the Rangers, up 5-0. A rain delay, pause play in the second inning, and the Twins scored 6 unanswered. 1-2. And Choo swings and misses, strike 3. This one is over. Wow. Matt Belial with his first save in 5 years. Slams the door in the 9th inning. 6-5. Twins take the finale. The Twins and Rangers split this 4-game series.
Well, this one was a surprise. The Rangers came out swinging it, scored 5 runs in the top of the first inning, but that was it. They did not score again. And slowly but surely the Twins battled their way back into this game with a couple of home runs of their own. And they scored one in the 5th, and that was it. All the scoring in this game was finished after the bottom of the 5th inning, and a tough loss here for the Rangers. One that started off like it was going to be a game that they were going to be in complete control of.
Well, so an unfortunate finish to this series. Twins 6-5 winners. Stay with us, though. Rick Renner, Tom Grieve, and Mike Bassick back to break down the run-scoring play, the odd play that was the difference in this game in the 5th inning. I'll have all the player reaction and analysis as well. For CJ Nitkowski, Leslie McCaslin, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond. Inviting you to stay with us. Rangers Live postgame show starts right after this.